Oh, you were a little intro. Start playing in January. Goes to Black Mage. Okay, what does grad school mean? I don't know all these terms. Graduate? Is that a
Yeah,
master's degree? Is that what that
graduate
is?
school. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
One of these every day is a
So
bit much, especially yeah. Could play yourself either. Gotcha. So like pure priority checklist kind of thing.
yeah, like on the worst days, you know, like what I can tell myself, I can totally skip like
Yeah.
over
Okay.
time, and it won't like compound and like cripple me later on. I'll be like, I don't know,
Sure.
like
Oh,
stuck for
that's
another 6 months doing like I don't know, like Arcane River dailies or something. I don't want that shit to happen, you know? Yeah.
yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, it's mainly gonna include like symbols, right? Because that's just so heavily time
Yeah.
gated. Because you can just go farm for them, especially not once you get to 260. Because then with Sacred, that's the only way to get them, other than some event shops, and that's just like a little bit of a surplus to make sure you don't you don't get too far behind. Rather than, oh wow, I'm like getting a whole level now. No, it's more like, you min max on the whole event, and then you maybe get like 5 or 6 days worth of symbols in the whole event combined, just to
Okay.
not fall behind too much, I guess.
Yeah.
So you did a lot of star forcing.
Yeah. I was like, oh,
Well, a
I'll
lot of
just like
booming.
build like 8 bill. I was like, okay, I can afford 8 bill. And then I hit 20 star on my superior ring in 2 bill
Mm-hmm.
from pottering. And then I was like, oh, like I have more Mesa that I can spend comfortably. So then I went and blew up a lot of things.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
you get a sense of security, and then you.
yeah. But then you see, like then I was like, okay, I'll stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched my friends boom like 3 or 4 different like 20 star items, and they only like I saw only booms, right? And I was like, statistically, there should be at least 3 out of 4 like 20 star items are supposed to survive to 21 stars. So I mean, if I roll now, technically the odds are in my favor. So I
Yeah.
hit 2. So the only 2 that I tried. So I
That's
was like,
called the
okay.
gambler's fallacy, right?
I'm watching everyone fail around me. I'm like, okay, you know what? They're fail stacking for me, you know?
I thought you were gonna say I saw everyone fail, so then I knew not to do it because I saw the dangers. But you went completely the opposite way with that one. Okay. Like, I'll just take their misery as my gain, kind of.
Oh,
Well, I mean, as long as it paid off, I guess.
yeah. Nah,
Okay, so
I
to
just
get
like gambling.
what did you say? Sorry.
Oh, I just like the gambling.
I see. Okay. Gamba, full gamba. Okay. Yeah, I'm always very hesitant to go too hard on things on 30% off, just because of
Yeah.
the average booms is still very high. So I prefer just
Yeah,
waiting for
yeah.
5, 10, 15s. But of course, kind of in between them, we had a 5, 10, 15 not too long ago, and then next one is probably shining. Maybe there's one more in between or something. So it's always a little bit, you have to kind of
Yeah.
think about for yourself, like how long am I
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
wait? Yeah.
I tucked away most of my Mesa on like a mule character, so like it would take extra steps for me to grab my Mesa, so I had to
Okay.
really
Yeah.
think about it. Yeah.
Or they're like, I don't carry cash with me, so I don't spend my money. Kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
strategies. I see. All right. Okay, so Black Mage is the goal,
Yeah.
and time-wise, we're looking at like some days you just can't play at all, or like at most a little
Some
bit.
days like I can get it like an hour, and then Sundays like I'll be a lot more free.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like pretty like sporadic. Like my week isn't like yeah, it's not like necessarily the weekends. Some weekends I'm like really busy.
Mm-hmm.
And then some weekdays I like have more. And like if finals are coming up or something, like I'll be just gone for like 3-4 days.
Right.
Yeah.
We still have like finals if you're doing a masters, and I didn't do a masters. I thought that would always just be like a giant thesis or something.
Oh no. Like as a TA.
Oh, okay.
I'll be gone. Yeah.
Right. Okay, because you got to do like a whole bunch of test checking and that
Crazy
kind of stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
That sounds like a joy. Okay.
Oh, it's okay. It's not my suffering. I'm kidding.
I mean, partial, right? I mean,
Yeah, I want everyone to pass, so I'll try.
you want to get rid of them. You don't want to
Yeah, I don't
keep
want to
seeing the
see them
same
again
people
next
over
quarter.
again. Yeah, get out of here. Okay, so you have so for Black Mage you have the goal for like a BA, right? I see a BA here. What is
Yeah.
this one measuring? Is that a full? Oh, that's a 42nd.
Yeah, it's like a H lucid,
Mm-hmm.
like a level 230.
Right. Okay, so this is trying to check if you are meeting those requirements, which you probably, without any problem, are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks fine. So
My
the
friends and I.
yeah, go for it.
My friends and I were gonna try to like 4-man it, 3-man it,
Mm-hmm.
and we were like just splitting into smaller groups. So I was just like trying to get some power so we don't like fail.
Yeah. I mean, for Lucid, it's really if you're not absolutely just throwing and just hard inting your phase 3, you should be totally fine, right? It's more
Yeah.
for Will. It can be a little bit tricky if you're staying in phase 3 for a very long time, and if some people have a little bit more trouble staying alive than others, it might get a little yikesy.
Oh yeah. Oh, I was having such a hard time in a Will phase 3
Mm-hmm.
because I was trying to use backstep. Because in my mind I was like, oh, like the Adele backstep is like really fast. So I was like, oh, I'll just do that. And
Yeah,
then
but the faster it is,
I moved
the
really
narrower
quick.
the window actually is, so it becomes harder.
Yeah.
That's why
So it's really
teleportation
tough.
is so problematic, because it's instant, right? So you have to do it at exactly
Yeah.
the right time. Yeah, that's why just flash jumping is free, because
Everyone was like, why are you failing the
yeah.
move one? And like, I swear I'm pressing.
Yeah, but you have to. Yeah, the timing is super particular. But with flash jump, it's kind of free.
Yeah,
And if you
yeah.
do a little
After I
early, you
was
could
just like,
just do another flash jump, and then.
yeah, after I realized that there was an issue with it, with like teleport skills, then I was
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm just gonna flash jump. No fancy moves. It became a lot easier.
Mhm.
I don't really have a problem unless I get poisoned and I hit my team, you know?
Yeah, you get like pushed into the webs and poisoned, and then
Yeah.
you're inverted, walking in,
It's
and
my
then
only
dying.
chance to get a triple kill, guys.
Yeah,
I got it.
yeah, and then you poison someone else that everyone is on top
Yeah.
of, and then they start like jumping around like crazy because they're all suddenly taking damage. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the beautiful chain of miss events. So eventually for Black Mage, I mean, yeah, just like a future, the BA will be more like a full rotation. So basically until
Oh
your
yeah, like
biggest skills come
3 minutes.
back. Yeah, 3 minute. And then
Yeah.
definitely what you're looking for if you're gonna eventually do that is team composition is important. People with availability, especially in the beginning for practice, but for the runs that you have like a similar type of availability, it's very annoying if you have to wait like 2 or 3 weeks every single month to see if there's any kind of overlapping schedule time. That can be a little bit rough.
Okay, so we should like basically start looking for like a bishop now and getting good with them.
Yeah, or Kana would be good for you as well, because that's the second thing would be party composition. You're in a 3-minute rotation, so ideally you have most other people also in a 3-minute rotation. Bishop is flexible, can do 2 or 3 minutes, so for them it's not that big of a deal. But if you have a bunch of people that are 2-minute and you're like the only 3-minute, we're probably just going to do stuff on a 2-minute, and you're going to look for a bishop over a Kana, which means that you're going to be in an awkward situation for your bursting, and it's not
Is
going
it
to scale as well.
Is it bad that so I really want to rush the liberation stuff because my boyfriend is looking to do that, and we were talking about like living together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he plays a bowmaster, so he's a 2-minute class.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like extremely problematic?
No, it's not extreme. It's just like it would be more ideal if you're sitting on the exact same rotation. But if very few people are going to, or very few parties are going to have like a full on like covering rotation where everything overlaps. That's pretty rare. Yeah.
All right.
2 minutes plus 3 minutes is incompatible marriage. Rip, dude. You're on a different cycle. It's not gonna happen. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, it'll just mean like for the support. Yeah, you'll just have to look at who's doing the most damage where, which might kind of determine like what support you get or what rotation do you guys actually do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I did like a 3-minute BA on like a same level boss dummy and stuff, and my DPS was 31.5 per second. 31.5 bill per second. So I'm like pretty far. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna start living at 255, you almost don't have to do BA because it's gonna be horrendous, right? You're gonna be 20 levels under phase 2 and 3, so Yeah.
270, right? That's not. I think I'm gonna like wait till I hit 270. I'm like trying really hard to like
Okay, yeah.
use all the XP multipliers.
Well, yeah,
Just
you
so.
said as soon as possible. A lot of people do is like they get their first few clears
Oh,
at like 255 around before
I thought like
260.
you do
So
like 50% reduced damage or something if you're like below level.
more like
So
90 something. Yeah, you might as well
I'm not
just
trying
sit in the
to.
corner
So
and do
I don't want to
nothing.
get carried
Yeah.
for black.
Okay,
I
yeah.
actually want to like legitimately clear it.
Right. And
Yeah.
your boyfriend's character is like around the same level now, or is he already
No,
like high
no, no.
level?
He like does like
Like
let's
Tenebris
see.
stuff, or
Yeah, he's I think his 3 minute is like probably like 80 bill per second.
so he's
90
like
bill per
on the and level wise he's there as well, or
He's 270.
yeah.
Yeah,
So he's like
he's there.
approaching the
Yeah,
requirements.
he's
Yeah.
just sitting. Yeah, he's just sitting
Just wait.
mostly.
It's just like looking at his watch,
He's just
tapping his
waiting.
foot, just waiting for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, have you done your Arcane River dailies today? And I'm just like, I don't really feel like it today.
Yeah.
And he's like, you should do it. I'm like, okay.
You're like, well, it's another day that another day later
Yeah.
that you're gonna start living. Yeah. Because that is kind of what it is, right? It's
Yeah,
some things are definitely compounding, and then it just kind of pushes it back. I would, especially if it's something that you don't know if you always have time for it. Like what I do is we do Ursus. I just do that with my stream. It's not really necessary. You can solo that pretty much anywhere in the 2-hour time if you want the money. If you have boss mules and everything, you don't even need to do Ursus at all anymore. But that's something I like to do with the content. But then after that, I do Monster Park and then dailies. That's with like a group of 3 or 4, so that it's nice and fast, and that I make sure that I get it done. And then you can really speed up those dailies that way. So if within your guild or within your alliance there's other people that that are also doing those dailies, and they might do it around the same time, then that could also just make the amount of time that you need to do the content go by faster.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I usually like carry like a friend's like mule through like BJ and Choo Choo and stuff, just so that they can get it. But I haven't really put too much energy into mules yet because I feel like I haven't really hit the wall on my main. So like EXP and Mesa that I get is like pretty significant on main. I have like a few mules that have like all the Absolab stuff in like reinforced sets, but like they're sitting on like
the demons
12-star something. Yeah, I have like a Demon Slayer and my Shadower actually, and also my Demon Avenger. Yeah, but I haven't really put too many resources into them. I give them my boss keeps though, but
yeah, that's how it starts. Yeah, and then you get to a certain point where it's like now they're kind of starting off and it's looking good.
I think the intimidating part is actually learning how to play those characters in like boss fights.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, depending on some classes require a lot of inputs, and then the other classes can be very simple. When it comes to boss mules, that is definitely something to think about. Are you looking for just a character that you log in, turn your brain off, and just like loot crystal and sell for cash, or are you trying to also have a little bit of a challenge there? Usually, it's a bit of a mix.
Mostly the former. Yeah, I just have a Demon Avenger because when I started playing in January, I was like, oh, this looks cool. I like the hair.
I mean, one of the main selling points of the demons, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, okay. And then I realized it was slightly unfun to play, so I got to 220 and made an Adele.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very different.
I don't know if I'll ever touch it.
Yeah, but the investment is never lost, right? You got a level 3 Link, you've got Legion board buff, you got
awesome
coins coming in from it. Yeah, amazing. Yeah. And you've got a potential boss mule. I mean, it should be pretty easy to do some of the bosses with it. Like CRA should probably just melt on that guy.
Oh really? Okay. Is like Demon Avenger like a strong, like low main mule? Or?
I would say so. Like the IED is very high in your kit, so you don't have to go too crazy on that. The critical rate is very low though, so that's more something that you wanna. When it comes to hyper stats and the Legion build, you might need to go a little bit into crit rate because that's just one of the worst ones in the game. But once you get the crit rate up to a good level, then yeah, they can kill those things very quickly. Yeah.
Oh, okay then, that's good to know.
Yeah, it's kind of like a early on it's kind of like a budget Buccaneer basically because of like Lord of the Deep, right? You got a lot of
Oh
damage
yeah,
passively going on
like
around you, but for
little body
Demon,
odor.
yeah.
Yeah.
But for Demon Avenger, it's a little bit more high risk because your HP also goes down, so your positioning becomes a bit more important. It's not
Oh,
as
okay.
brain dead as a Buccaneer. A
It
little bit.
sucks too because I feel like the attack animation for Demon Avenger is very like feels very slow. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, you want attack speed and green pot and decent speed infusion and like
Oh.
all of it basically. And also
Okay.
it makes you invisible for a little bit, right? So it feels like it drags a little bit. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, after a while you don't really look at your own character anymore, right? You know your positioning. You only look at the boss, so then you kind of that goes out of your peripheral. But yeah, for Black Mage it was hard for me to do because the positioning and knowing exactly where your character is very important for Black Mage. But you disappear with your main attack, so it's a little tricky to stay on top of
Oh
where your
yeah,
character
about
is.
that, right? Like I feel like so when I solo boss, I feel like I like die a lot less, but when I play
Mm-hmm.
with people, um like when I go into practice mode, like I do like fine on lives.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I play with people, I keep getting my character lost and I don't really know how to like fix that issue without wasting everybody's time.
Yeah, that's one
You
thing, and
know?
the other thing is you can't really control the
Yeah.
boss as well. If you're soloing, you know exactly where the boss is going, who it's teleporting to. You
Yeah.
can guide the boss fight way more easily. If you're partying, Lotus is a very good example that someone might actually get pushed underneath a platform, get stunned, platform is gone. You have to float in the air forever. Lotus might teleport to someone else, might teleport out of your rain or something, or out of your ruin or out of your blossom, and then
Yeah.
you actually lose a lot of damage. You It's easier, quote unquote, especially if you're just binding and bursting. You can commit a lot more damage in a party. But if you're soloing, you've got a lot more control over making the boss fights longer and surviving longer.
Yeah.
When you're losing your character,
Yeah, so
um,
I just lose my character.
yeah, I had that mostly with my NX doesn't stand out enough from other people.
Oh, is that why you wear the rainbow wig?
Well, over the years that's something that has helped me, and then when I do switch to like let's say the not the choo choo set, right? Because it has a little bit of stats. But if one or two other people in the party also have the choo choo set on, I actually do lose my character. So then I just switch back and have a little bit less damage, but actually see where my character is.
Yeah.
And that has helped. Yeah, that's one thing. The other thing is just
I
like
did.
in general screen clutter. I don't know if you've experimented a little bit with, with like damage, how damage shows and everything. Maybe with Blade, with transparency and that kind of stuff. What are your
Oh,
settings there
I
generally?
turned it all off.
Okay.
I feel like Blade had like a memory leak problem, so I actually like went from Blade back to basic, a small basic, because like found it was like a little less like
Okay.
strenuous and laggy on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone else had that issue.
I didn't notice that specifically. I hadn't heard anyone say that, but I'll keep an eye out for that. Um,
Yeah.
but it's which bosses do you usually have it?
Where I lose my character.
Mm-hmm. Because with some
Okay.
bosses, to like determine, does it have to do with the size of the party? Does it have to do with just
Oh,
certain bosses being more
Will.
chaotic in general? Yeah. Okay. Well,
I think Will. Phase one.
using
Sometimes
Infinity Blade.
I was just like, where is my character? It's like random people are popping up on my
Mm-hmm.
screen, and like I don't know, maybe
Oh,
my
and
eyes are bad. I don't know. I'm blind.
you see you see the other people like they're in dark side in the other mode as well, jumping around sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, and then like someone comes and their soul is on, and then Will like TPs, and it's
Okay,
like
that's okay.
crazy.
Before you go in, I tell everyone like take off, like make your metal invisible, title invisible, and take your soul off. Like before you even go in, because souls block Will, and then you can't see him touch his face, and you can't see the tornado in time. Like that's basic. I would say. Like so,
Okay,
I
I'm
would
gonna
definitely
clip
put.
this and send this to my group.
Yeah.
They can't call me. They can't call me out for being a bitch.
No, no. I would put my foot down
Okay.
on that. No, like put soul
Yeah.
away. Otherwise, we're not going in. Because it's just physically blocking Will, and you have less time to respond to a tornado. You're just gonna die unnecessarily.
Yeah.
The other
I
thing
like
is,
try
I
to stand
think
behind it.
as an Adele, your Infinity Blade is just the colors and everything. It's just trying to.
It's
It
unfortunate.
fucks with
Sometimes I'll
you.
pop it. I'll
Yeah.
pop it in like P3 Lucid, and then like she'll start lasers, and like wow, like
Yeah. At a certain point, you just know
yeah.
this is why we can't have nice things. Like you just can't burst without the boss being bound, unless you're doing
Yeah.
like instant damage on something. Then you can try it, and only right after an attack. But yeah, especially hard lucid, it's like fucking laser, and then it's after laser it's bombs, and then it's dragon, and then it's touch, and then it's sickles
Yeah.
14 times in a row,
And
and
then
then
Infinity flashbangs you when you start it, and then it flashbangs you again when it ends.
with some lag
Oh,
sometimes if you're lucky, right?
yeah.
If you're
The
lucky,
cherry on
you're,
top of the lag. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I think Infinity Blade color scheme is just very unfortunate for Will, because even if you have everything on max transparency and no one's got like souls blocking and all of that stuff, it's still sometimes pretty
Oh, I can't
difficult.
use it P3, P1 because like if he starts to test, I'm just like, I can't tell if I'm in purple or blue at the moment.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
the main thing for that is to keep an eye on the middle of the map, right? So you can see the eye or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's also why Blade could help, at least just with Will, because if you don't have Blade on, you can actually cover the whole middle of the map with damage numbers, and
Yeah.
then you
Oh,
might not
okay.
see the eye. So just for
Yeah.
that part, that
Oh,
could
yeah.
help.
So, yeah, I like be like, oh my god, it's purple, but it's actually blue. But my infinity was on, so I killed my entire team.
Well, I would just yell out test, right?
Yeah.
And then
Okay. Yeah.
because if you say test, everyone looks at their screen, and then if they
All right.
see the eye, they'll stay, and then if they switch, it's their fault.
I see. I see.
No,
The comms issue.
that's yeah, we just see what works, right?
Yeah.
Because it kind of looks like a pink, bluish, purple as an Adele, and then yeah, it's hard to tell. One thing is though in Will that you can see in the background, there's like spider webs on the crystals in the background, and there's like a crack in the bottom of the map. And
Oh.
now I have to remember which one it is. I think that's in purple, and in blue it doesn't have that, I think.
Oh.
So that's
Okay.
another way to tell,
Yeah.
maybe, if your Infinity Blade is just covering your vision.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure my boyfriend has a workaround. He's a colorblind, so he does it somehow.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did the run with someone like 4 times, and it kept messing up. And then they mentioned that they were colorblind. It's like, dude, you could have mentioned this first run, because I mean the purple is like a purplish blue, and the blue is like a bluish purple. Like it is pretty, it's pretty normal that
Yeah.
depending on your type of colorblindness, that this does mess you up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
He figures it out, so I'm pretty sure there's a tech.
The other thing, and this might happen as well, this probably will happen to some extent if you're doing like more, just any kind of bosses where you can get pushed, right? So we will Lotus, maybe Magnus, but you probably get over that hump pretty quickly. And then Black Mage later is when you're multiple people and you see someone get pushed, your initial response is like, oh, that's me. And then you try to course correct for that. But it might not be
Yeah.
your positioning might have been good. And then you're like counter steering, and then you're looking at the wrong character, and then you're somewhere else.
Yeah, that happens to me all the
This
time.
might just have to be someone has to just yell. That might have to be you at the other person. Like stop getting stop getting kicked around, especially in Will, because you need to stay in the middle of the map, right? If you're not staying in the middle, then he can teleport to the side. Then he can tornado through the entire map. He endangers your entire party. So try to work on like more minimal movement by just staying in the middle, and try to keep everyone in the middle, and just kind of like hopping around him whenever he attacks, and just being behind
Yeah.
him in phase 1, and that can keep you in control over the fight. Because this is the extreme version of this is the Black Mage, where positioning and keeping the boss in one spot is actually the most important thing about the entire phase 3, which is basically what the entire fight is about. If you can't keep the Black Mage like within a certain spot, then you're just making the boss fight very, very hard for everyone. And this can very easily happen with, so it does like a kind of like a kick, well, we call it the kick,
Yeah.
but he kind of like stretches out and then he pushes people away. That can cause him to target them for lasers, but then they're too far, so he gets stronger lasers that can actually kill people. Otherwise, you just get the basic ones, which are just very easy to survive. Or it makes him move towards that person, so he gets out of positioning, and then you might have to reset him by moving away, which means he can't target you, so he does the lasers again, and it slows down the whole boss fight. So if your fundamentals
Sure.
are good, it keeps
I'll
the whole
learn.
boss fight. Yeah.
team friendly positioning for these bosses for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I might be practicing in the beginning, just walking around him, just looking at the boss and just walking a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. Because once you get that foundation good, then you have more control over where you are, and it's going to be an exception that you get like knocked around somewhere, rather
Oh
than
yeah,
that it happens more
yeah.
often. Yeah.
I definitely think okay. So like when I first started playing, I'd get like H will carries
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. Just to get started by my guild and stuff. And so I had a bunch of practice with like finding like safe places to stand during like will and stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like actually when I went into like doing it myself, it was just like helpful knowing like the basics. Oh, this is how you position safely, and then like working in the damage from there. So
Yeah.
it's like lives typically aren't like an issue for me once
Mm-hmm.
I like learn the pattern.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
way less stress because you've got the point of like what is risky behavior versus what is safe behavior. You've already got that covered, so you know when to use iframes, when to not use them.
Yeah.
So you're not like every single thing that happens like is this is this the moment that I use it or is there something else that's more
It?
dangerous? Yeah.
Has my time come?
Yeah, or is this where I
Yeah.
just face tank it? Because yeah, because a lot if you're full HP and a tornado comes your way, you can also just jump through it and heal right after it, and you'll be fine. Like
Oh, it doesn't one shot. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's
I
only
see.
90%. So if you're full HP and there's nothing else like hovering around, you can just jump through it, tank it, heal back up. You should be fine too. But you yeah,
Oh,
you
I
learn
see.
that with experience. But if you're already a little bit low, you can't like heal and then jump through it because then you're on 10%, and then you have to dodge every single leg. Those little balls are going to do 5%, so two of those will kill you. Any kind of will attack will kill you. So
Okay.
if you
Yeah.
get better
I
at
feel like
dodging, you can use Moonlight instead and just be like peace and just go to the other
yeah.
dimension. Yeah.
Yeah, I just backstep through it, so
Yeah, you have
it's
backstep as well. There's a little cooldown on
yeah,
that though, right? You can kind of spam that, so
it's pretty low though,
it's
and I
pretty low,
don't
yeah.
see it for anything else besides the tornado in that phase. So
Yeah, no, yeah. Maybe yeah, dodging a push, but yeah, tornado is what you want to save it for, yeah. No, for sure.
yeah.
Then it just comes down to a little bit of timing. Okay. Any other boss fights or any party solo
Um.
bossing that you had any?
Yeah. So I'm doing like normal gloom, but
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes find myself like uh struggling with like darkness, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
really sure like what to do like with darkness. I kind of just like turn on infinity and like pray that it goes away, like the darkness goes away.
How long are
But like
if you're soloing? How long are those fights?
I'm not soloing, I'm duoing. It
Oh,
takes
okay.
like 15 to 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I feel like at the 15-minute mark, my lives do become pretty low. Mostly due to dying in darkness. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not really like I don't know if there's like any technique to it.
Yeah,
I'll
there are a
watch the
few
itself and
mechanics. So you got your own float is very valuable. Um,
yeah,
Lower level you don't really use it much, but as you get to the higher level you start using it more and more. The main thing is that is the attack pattern of the little animals, right? So they kind
yeah.
of like swarm around, and then there's like a little AOE that shows up. That's where they're gonna hit, and then there's a delay, and then they hit there. So
Oh,
you almost want to kind of see it as like the lucid lasers, where if you jump all over the place, those little hitboxes are also going to be all over the place, and there's almost nowhere that you can stand that's safe, because there's
yeah,
going to be beams coming from the ground. If you go too high, you can't see those beams on the ground. There's going to be a leg coming, at you sideways. Some classes
yeah.
definitely have it a lot easier. Dark side is insanely easy. Long iframes make it really, really easy. But the main thing is to use your aerial acrobatics and stuff like that, so that you can, like up jump and
Yeah.
float for a little bit and then fall again, maybe even with plummet and then jump right back up again. So you're not on the ground for too long. So those, especially once you get into Chaos Gloom, that those grabby hands that are on the ground, that they can't do too much either, because they're kind of like they hit on a delay as well. So if you make sure that you're not on the
Yeah.
ground for too long, regular blink could also
Totally.
help, so that you just keep displacing
Position.
yourself a little bit.
Okay. I don't really use Blink for anything, so I'll
Mm-hmm.
probably start practice using it.
Yep. It's also a way for you to, together with your float, to make sure that you can stay above Dragon and Lucid, for example. If you can't make it
Oh
to the
yeah.
sides, it becomes more useful for that. it becomes a useful tool for dodging attacks and just extending your airtime a little bit more in things like Dark
Oh,
Knell.
I see.
In Black
I
Mage,
think
you'll start
Adele,
using it
yeah,
more. So
I think Adele has like Adele can like float and then impale resonance up after it ends and then
hmm
float again. So
yeah, and then plummet
typically,
all the way and then
yeah,
go back up, and you can even feather float out of it. Like there's a lot of options, but you add Blink into that,
yeah.
and you have even more options. Yeah, so
Okay, yeah,
it's just about like stringing together what makes sense for the situation. But for Black Mage, you're gonna be using
okay.
Blink quite a bit.
Yeah, I think when I get more, when I unlock more V Matrix slots,
hmm
it'll be up there. It's up there in priority.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
not super high priority early on. If it moved you faster, maybe, but it moves you super slow. So it's more of a kind of utility skill for survivability later on. But you'll definitely need to get used to having it in your muscle memory for Black Mage, um,
Okay.
as well as the will skill. So like not the True Reckoner Reflection, but like the Hero's Will or like the Flora's Will and the Urda's Will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I usually use it in like Lucid. I'll pop it when she like when Dragon's coming, so that she can't like teleport me into it. And that
Mm-hmm.
bullshittery. But
Yep.
I haven't used it too much.
Yeah, you
Besides,
can. There's a few things you could like way in the back in the old days. I would use it before Hilla came in, so that she wouldn't cage you. But she's different now. She doesn't do that anymore.
she could
Um,
cage you. Oh.
yeah, and then you would just be locked in, and then she would life sap like her HP back from you.
Oh, is this like Princess No?
Yeah, kind of like a similar type of
Oh,
deal.
okay.
Yeah, but she could like she would just kill you. Hilla would like
Oh.
even if there would be like a timer and then the timer ran out, you would just die at the end. But if you use that skill, just couldn't get caged, and then you just kill her instead. But yeah,
Okay, if you
little things
caged
like
me, I
that.
conquer.
Yeah. Oh, and the will skills would
Yeah.
also help in Gloom, so that if you're stuck
Oh.
on something, or you can be immune for like 3 seconds, so you can't get grabbed, so you have to, or you don't get stunned, or you don't get sealed or blinded, stuff like that.
Oh,
Um,
I see.
as part of your panic button options, basically.
I think the thing that kills me is the petrify, the left right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes it'll pop, or like I know I got grabbed and I'll do it, but like the monsters appear in front of the bar, so I can't even tell like if I've got unlocked or if I got locked again
Yeah,
or something. And
could be a
it's
little bit
yeah,
rough.
I always yeah.
The one extra thing is also this is a little bit more advanced, but it could help a lot. Is also the timing on when you get hit. Of course, try to get hit as little as possible so the meter
Yeah.
doesn't build up. If you die, I would stay dead as long as possible so that it fills up with as many monsters as possible, so that you can either they kill themselves with their attack, or you kill them all so that the meter goes down a lot. The meter pauses right when you're dead, but it still keeps
Yeah, yeah.
spawning monsters, so you have more monsters in one go. And of course,
Oh,
you have your invincibility with your Spirit of Freedom when you respawn with the Link skill.
oh, I should use that, shouldn't I?
Yeah, it'll be very, very helpful for bosses like that, especially. Just any boss where you think you're going to be dying, and especially ones with 5 lives or less, is Spirit of Freedom, I would say, is the base kit. And then once you feel more comfortable with the boss and you barely die anymore, then you can just roll out of it. But for
Okay.
Foundation, I would always use it.
I should
Uh,
level some more resistance characters.
yeah, it's very useful. And the other thing would be the timing. If you see that you're like close to darkness, if you can choose when the darkness is, you would almost like it when gloom is open,
Yeah, like when
or like
it's
right as
time.
it's going to open, so that you can kind of have it cleared and you don't have to stand on the ground exactly, and also that it can be done by the time the laser shows up, because if it just goes willy
Yeah.
nilly and then the big like start coming, like you're always gonna take a
It's
life
yeah,
there.
but it's like Gloom can like tell when I'm trying to get hit by balls, you know?
Yeah,
It's like, oh, you want to get hit now? You'll never catch one, you know? And
yeah,
then it's like, oh, it's my burst window. It's like, here,
yeah.
eat
Here's like
some.
6 of them on top of each other. Always
Yeah,
the stun and the blind ones. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but the stun and the blind ones also fall faster than the zombify ones, so they're also just easier to get hit by. You don't have as
Oh
much of
yeah,
a
I
window.
noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're changing it, right? After Savior, after Savior, the boss is gonna get a lot easier. It's gonna
Yeah,
like
I'm a bit real. I
materialize.
kind of like feel sad that they're like nerfing the difficulty of some bosses.
Yeah,
I
Magnus
feel
is
like
gonna
the
become a
hands
joke.
thing.
Just duck underneath everything.
Wait, I remember when I first started playing, right? Magnus was so much fun, and now I kind of miss it, you know, like the
hmm
challenge.
Well, now you have a new
Very nice.
challenge. Now you have glue, which is just like Magnus on super steroids, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a. It's a. They seem to have a problem with making things difficult in a different way rather than just throwing more shit at you and more RNG at you, and you just have to respond faster and learn more patterns. That seems to be kind of what they're just doing.
Yeah. I kind of just like having like the basic, oh, just dodge
Hmm.
kind of, you know?
Yeah,
Just
with
like get.
Magnus, it's a lot of like
Right.
moving back and forth. Out of the push range into the blue, out of the push range, jump back into heal, get out of get out of dodge again, or
Yeah.
just bind and burst and then just stay dead and then bind and burst again, I guess.
Yeah. I think Magnus was like probably like what sold me on Adele, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I was like working on a bunch of different characters, and then I was like, yeah, Demon Avenger's not it, but this Adele character kind of fun, you know?
Demon Avenger's got some benefits too because you get your lifesteal from your nether shields even outside of the blue area. So you could just keep your nether
Oh
shields
yeah,
on and then just walk around and stay full health. That's kind of fun.
yeah. I just like feel kind of like iffy about like not having like a iframe of any sort. You have like the Revenant, but it's like after
Yeah.
the 30 seconds, I feel like a sitting duck.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, definitely when you use it because then you take even more self damage, so you're just dying even faster after it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Liberation
like,
is your first iframe. That's
oh.
yeah. Yeah, like Night Lords and stuff. There's a bunch of other classes without I think like Wind Archer doesn't really have an iframe, but you've got some reduced incoming damage things. But especially when it comes to the thief classes, they have a huge benefit when it comes to areas, and especially Tenebris. Just Darkside is so good there because all of the things falling just doesn't hit you in Darkside, right? So you can just jump through
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. I'm
It's a completely
aware.
different
I
ball
I'm
game.
looking at the shadow and I'm just like, yeah, I'll like get up in the middle of like getting carried for like Lotus and like, okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah, just stand in the corner.
Yeah,
Gonna go grab a make some coffee real quick, and then come back later.
yeah.
Okay. Boss fights, Gloom. I'm surprised you're doing Gloom because I tried to solo it once, at like 250 on
I'm
my
not
hero.
soloing it.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
even on my
soloing
hero
it.
was like 47k stat or something, so I was like, oh, this should be doable. But there's just so much reduced damage, and it was like I did a full burst and I did like less than 10% of it. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing this for 20 minutes. I get,
Yeah. Well, the people I'm dealing with, they're like higher level. They're like 260
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Um, but they're like not liberation ready. They're like doing like tenebrious bosses mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, some weeks they do, some weeks they don't. You know.
Yeah, it's one of
Yeah.
those like kind of find a party. If you can't, maybe you do normal.
Yeah.
Those jumps get really big. Like moving from Lotus to Hard Lotus is like a really big jump when you're at that level. But in hindsight, that was actually pretty close together. But moving from like normal Gloom to Chaos Gloom and then like into Black Mage from there, like that's a lot of big upgrades you need to be making. And some of those just
Yeah.
take a lot of time. You're just time gated. Which yeah, we talked about that before, like with the symbols, but with other stuff as well. Some things you just weeklies with low drop rate, like you're just not gonna get a lot of backups.
Yeah, and yeah, so on that, I was like, oh, like I'm the kind of person to just like not upgrade unless I feel like I'm on the cusp of being able to do something,
Mm-hmm.
which I feel is like kind of like which like I feel like it's like I'm gatekeeping myself from a lot of things because like I just end up sitting on like 40, 50 bill or something, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll just be like, oh, but I'm so far away from like being able to do like this or that, and then it's like usually my boyfriend's like, no, I think if you spent your mesos, honey, that we'd be able to do like sea slime or something, you know? And
it's
I'd be
it's
like,
possible. It's possible, but
maybe.
it's hard to know beforehand because you have all of the RNG and
Yeah.
way in the beginning, like I would say basically all the way up to like 230 or 235. Basically, every meso in has to be pretty much a meso out. Like it's always just beneficial.
Yeah.
Just because you want to build that snowball and just start rolling down the hill. But when you get, especially once you get to the point where I would say up until like everything 17 CRA, at least like 19. Past that point, really, when you're looking for 20s and 21s and like 19s on some items that take a long time to get backups, I feel like playing around events is probably the right move.
That's what I've been doing. I
Yeah.
only Star Force on event. My first Star Force event was a 5, 10, 15, and like I
Mm-hmm.
boomed my hat like 4 times, and
Sounds
I was
about
like,
right.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. Like I had a bunch of meso to attempt the 30%, the
Mm-hmm.
21, but it's like no, my hat is cursed. It's gonna be at 20 for a while. I have
Yeah,
to
yeah. There's
try it.
always one item that just booms. Like I think my 21 to 22 on my top on my last character was 28 booms. I think for one
Oh,
star.
ouch.
So there's always going to be that one that just brings up the average or down
Yeah,
whatever the average for everything. So
yeah.
that's a
Meanwhile,
given.
I'm like sitting there watching my boyfriend tap his eye patch to 21 on 30%. Um, on the 30% event, and I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, this is why I'm unlucky. The universe has to right itself in some way. Yeah.
Yep.
And he's like, oh no, don't worry, I'll come and tap your things for you. He comes and taps my things and they all work. And I'm like, get out of my house. I don't want you here.
That's like the whole like my car doesn't start and then you get someone and then they
Yeah.
just okay, try it one time and then it starts and you're like, okay, well,
Yeah.
fuck me,
Yeah.
I
Get out
guess.
of my house.
Yeah, and you try to explain. I really tried it 10 times already. Yeah, sure you did. Yeah, nothing you
Oh
can
my
do at
god.
that point. The
Yeah, he's like, are you even star catching? And I'm like, yes.
the real skill, yeah, star catching. That's where it's at,
Yeah.
and especially when it's like super fast and it's like almost impossible to
Yeah,
get
you
the
let it
one.
bounce sometimes. Yeah. And then you hit it right on the thing and it's like, nope, you didn't actually hit it.
Yeah,
Like, I'm gonna
looks.
scam you.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
harder.
But the game
Yeah.
just it has the last say. So if it says you missed, then you missed, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm planning on saving like everything for the Shining Star Force event, and
Mm-hmm.
then that's when I'm gonna go ham. I
Mm-hmm.
think by then I'll probably have like uh at least 90 bill. So
Mm-hmm.
um we'll see how far that gets me, how close that gets me to like black mage parties. Yeah.
It's
But
really, if you don't want to get carried, it's just gonna be all about levels.
okay.
Yeah.
All of our levels. Yeah.
You mainly would just want
All
to be
right.
270.
Okay, so on the level thing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I do know that like I don't know, like at 260, 270, like you gotta choose between EXP and familiars, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So right now I'm like I'm worried about hitting that, so I was just like wondering, in order to like avoid having to choose when I get there, should I cube for max drop rate while I'm wearing my meso gear? Because I have max drop rate when I'm in my drop rate gear for like boss loot runes,
Mm-hmm.
but when I'm farming, I only have 160% drop rate from gear, and I was just wondering if I should just like sink in mesos and get the last 2 lines of drop rate that I need to hit cap. Like, would it be worth, in your opinion? Because I'd have to roll like 2 double drop items, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing with you have your kind of treasure now that eventually, well, because it's 20 star, you either want to roll out of or not have to
Yeah,
rely on.
I was gonna make it my damage ring, but then like
Yeah.
I just hit that
Yeah.
instead, and
And
I
then
was
that
like,
happens. Yeah.
yeah. So
um.
I hit a triple prime Sweetwater, drop meso, but I accidentally picked it up before potential.
Picked. Oh. Oof. Yeah. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I got really excited and clicked the wrong button.
Yeah. A little too excited, I guess.
Yeah. So
Well, it'd be a few factors. One is familiars, where are
yeah.
they at, and do you need to do that? So you got
I
large
just
drop.
pulled a
That's
30%
nice.
familiar boss mill like last night.
Oh, so you have an extra 30 boss on top of this?
Yeah, I just pulled it last night
Gee,
actually.
okay, nice.
Yeah.
So you have 20 IED too, but I mean, that's already, I'd say that's pretty solid. Depends on how min-maxy you are, I guess. Like I'm like 3 months out from Liberation on my DA, but I don't have a single boss fam. Like all of your fams here are better than all the ones that I have. So,
Oh man. I
it's
think
it's
it's because
not
I
one of
got
those gatekeeper
drop
things. It's
rate.
just one of those
Yeah.
that just makes it easier to get to.
Okay, yeah. I think it really helped that like I got really lucky with the first epic familiar I ever got. It was the large drop one.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean that sets you up for a lot more cards. So the sooner you get that,
it's
yeah.
that one little like purple blue shadows. As soon as I could get familiars,
Mm-hmm.
like went and got one, and fortunately it was just large drop right out the door. So
Yeah, that's
really
a
helped me with
solid start.
progression.
I would say if you have a 20 and 30 boss and you have some IED, do you have any large healing?
I have a lot of large healing. I
Okay.
have a double line party heal fam and a double line self heal fam,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
both unique.
so you've got enough
Large.
mix and
Yeah.
match opportunities
Yeah.
to do what makes sense. Okay. Um, well, so that's one aspect, right? The other aspect is, are you even strong enough to train in the new areas? It's going to be a few levels past 260 probably before you can even think about training in Cernium, just because of the sacred power requirements in the beginning. It's going to be pretty steep.
Yeah, so I'm worried about that because one of my double line meso ring is
Mm-hmm.
a silver blossom ring. So obviously that's not gonna like give me much like power. I have no issues one-shotting in my region, but of course it's
Mm-hmm.
like in Cernium and stuff, it looks kind of rough.
Yeah, but whether
Um,
it's a silver
yeah,
blossom ring or even like a reboot awake ring doesn't make enough of a difference to really be like, because that's just one thing, right? Now, if all of your equips were all like level 100 equips, then you have an argument there. But if it's just one item that's a little bit weaker, that shouldn't be the difference between like one-shotting and not one-shotting, or like being able to map clear and not being able to map clear at all, and therefore now it's bad.
yeah,
So it's more of a, I would say, a combination of definitely the simple dailies in the area, but also like, is your CRA all at least like 21? Are your potential somewhat on point? Are your flames not just absolute ass? It's going to be a combination of all of these factors. It was probably it's a little bit different now because there is some power creep that has crept in, but I don't think most people even think about training in Cernium until they're like around 265, especially if it's their first character. So that gives you a bunch of extra levels of being in Limina and being able to upgrade your stuff.
okay.
And then the second symbol comes in, right, to really like solidify. And
Yeah, I
the,
think
the,
I
the
have some.
extra question was that is that being able to train, does that mean in full damage gear? Does that mean in damage gear with some meso or with some drop, right? Full drop
Yeah,
and full meso, that's probably going to take a while to be able to kill in that, because then again, like, it's not just one silver blossom ring versus like a 20-star Kana treasure ring. Now you're dropping like hundreds of attack, few thousands of stat probably. That's going to make more of a dent in can you train there.
all right.
And
So you mentioned flame score being like
mm-hmm,
being one of the things, right?
mm-hmm.
What did you say the flame score on the CRA should be?
So I probably have if you're at like 21 star, you probably want to be at like around 100, a little bit above, probably.
Okay. Yeah, I think like I'm like at 88 on my pants,
Mm-hmm.
99 on my top, and like 104 on my hat. So I'll probably have to go and stop giving all my flames to my mules. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be maybe a time to circle back, or you check the other. You may want to check your arcanes as well, right? Make sure that they're on point. I think your glove also use some love. I think, right?
Okay.
It's like
It's
118.
119.
Yeah.
119. Yeah.
Yeah. Ideally, you want to get it to like, I think like 125 is usually like the earliest I would stop on an arcane.
Okay. All right.
Uh,
I'll throw like a few hundred mil at it.
yeah, the pants are probably your lowest one, right?
Yeah,
For
my
Searing,
potentials are all over the place. I am aware. I'm holding out for a cube sale, but I've otherwise been cubing with boss drop cubes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that means just some characters, some items you hit, and then some, and not at all, which
Yeah. I've
makes
only
sense.
like really bought cubes for drop and like WSC, so everything else has been kind of neglected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can go to well. The other question you had was like going for the double drop, right? I personally don't. I'm not a big fan of chasing double mez or
Okay.
chasing double drop specifically. It's
Alright.
something like 17 bill on black cubes on average before you hit that. It feels too expensive for me.
Oh,
When you're in the
damn.
process of
Okay.
recubing things, repurposing things, trying to get an extra line of damage on things, eventually double meso and double drop and combination lines just happen, which you've already seen, right? You have quite a sum of
Yeah,
those.
I have to get quite a few.
And then you just build a set around those pieces, and then you just make the most of it. That's kind of how I see it. Like whether if you're like capping on the drop rate where you're like at 160 or at 200, that's still the difference. But you have a large drop, you have coupons, you have holy symbol, like you have all of that together. If your total drop rate goes from like, you know, because your drop rate is plus 100%, right? Like your base drop rate is 100%, and then you have the visual and stat window extra. If you're like 500% or 520%, you know, that's only 1/25th, so that's only like a 4% mathematical drop rate at that point, right? So it's not as impressive, but that is going to be the most expensive 4%.
Yeah, true.
Because so you can kind of coast off of your invulnerability for now, and that have that drop rate help you out until you're really like, okay, now I'm going to be leveling super slow. Now I need to actually start taking some damage from my invulnerability, because, you know, Chaos Tenebris or Black Mage like around that point probably. And then when you redo it, you probably have a lot of honor XP. You can do the like a more solid approach.
Yeah, I got gypped by the invulnerability event Sunny Sunday. I got gypped really hard. I tried to roll my like third line. It was just on buff duration, and I just end up on int.
Yeah, I think the advice I would give is if you have drop rate like that and mezzo like that, is that you just don't touch it. You just save up honor XP until you probably have like 2.5 mil, and then you make the move from the training or like the mid game invulnerability to like a late end game invulnerability, like one with damage, maybe with a land drop, because, you know, pitched boss will take forever, so any kind of help there. But you want something like boss cooldown
items.
skip, I think, right? Boss cooldown
skip. I see
skip.
like 3 different pitched items in a month.
I
saw the Dreamy Belt.
Were any of them for you or?
Eye patch. No, I'm just a box hitter. Sitting here with my drop rate, you know.
Like the pinch hitter, but for the.
Yeah.
For MapleStory,
I never win Blink. Blink likes to teleport me on top of myself.
Oh yeah, I love that. So someone posts Blink and it's just like they teleport in place. That always.
Yeah, I only got my Twilight mark because everyone else felt bad.
Nice.
Like, oh.
Like, okay, just give her one, dude. It's taking too long. Yeah. Well, so I think your current setup with like you have enough drop, you have enough mezzo. I think if you're eventually going to be going to Cernium, you're probably going to be full damage gear for quite a bit. Because the thing is, as soon as you can start piling on mezzo and drop, instead of doing that, you probably want to stay in damage and just go to the next area instead. Just go from Cernium to Burning, and then from Burning to Hotel, etc. Because that is going to be enough of an increase, which means your mezzo is going to stay low there. So if you want to keep your mezzo up at that point, basically once you hit like 255 plus is probably when you want to start taking a little bit of foot off the gas. Well, probably around 260, definitely foot off the gas in terms of like major upgrades on your main, and maybe look a little bit more towards boss mules, so that can bring your mezzo obtain up, right? Because that mezzo is not going to come from training anymore once you hit 265 plus. So that you can kind of keep the train going. Otherwise, events will come around. You'll have backups because you're doing the weeklies, but then you won't have any money to throw at them. So, no chance to upgrade there. So I'll probably focus on. Yeah. All
right, so 260 plus. Start working on mules because reduce base on main. Yeah.
Yeah, so keep an eye out, right, for which characters you enjoy playing and which ones. If you're doing like a little bit of bossing, like a little bit of 3-door or 4-door on them, just try to see which ones you would enjoy. You said before you like the more simple ones. Like a lot of the Cygnus Knights now are more straightforward, like Dawn Warrior. Some of the archers, like Wind Archer and maybe even Bowmaster and Marksman, have like a puppet that you can place down, so it distracts the boss. So you can just stand on the other side of the map and just long range just kill them. And
I do want to play a blue sniffing class, so try out like Bowmaster seems pretty good. But I was thinking about burning my Shadower because I like my Shadower.
Yeah, if you like it, go for it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's solid, right? It's got that knockdown resistance in the kit. It's got like a lot of zigzagging across the map. It's definitely solid. Good damage, good burst. You can stop your burst if you're gonna get hit, and then dash out of the way. Like.
Yeah, so I went and like learned like Mesa weaving. It's only like level 195 right now, but like I'll hit 202 and then start the burning from there. But yeah, so.
I think you have to be 200 to start the burn.
200? Oh, I thought it was like 202. Okay, I'll get it to 200. 202 is like
Yeah, well, yeah, 202 if you want to make sure that you end exactly at 250, but you have to be at least 200 to be able to start the next burn on it. I would say.
Oh yeah, I'll get there. It'll probably be like an hour or something. Yeah.
Yeah, people mentioned Dual Blade. Dual Blade also has a lot of crit rate and IED early on, so that's mainly like if you don't have like an 8k or 9k Legion. If you're looking for characters that are quite simple in the setup and characters that have base IED and crit rate high, then you can't really go wrong. Demon Slayer is also, I would say, very solid. It's not as simple because you have to kind of know the rotations and press the skills in the right order, especially if you have low level skill nodes. But can do a lot of damage just from the start. So
I noticed. That's why I was like, oh, this Demon Slayer character seems kind of good. So I started throwing. I threw maybe 400, 500 nodes at it.
Oh yeah, that's that could be enough if you get. So I mean, try to get it in like a mule guild if you can for some guild skills. That would help a lot. Maybe some familiars towards it for some IED early on, right? That's usually good value.
Okay, yeah, I'm a little bit hesitant of sacrificing familiars on main, just because
yeah, I would do like the extras, right? The one that you can't really fuse anyway, the one that you would extract if you're working on Legion stuff. Just throw those towards there, and then eventually you'll get your 15% out of that.
Okay.
Those are like the funding that is like very low cost for boss mules, like the ID, being in a guild, and then maybe if you can do like Helix exchanges or something like that. Even going for reinforced is already really good value for a boss mule.
Yeah. I have like the reinforced set on like all my characters. I'm just in coin jail, so we kind of just trade.
yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, if you can work your way up to like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 boss mules that could do, let's say like H mag and below, that's already like very good money. And then using that will mean that if you are purely training for the EXP, working your way up to 270, that's not going to hurt and mean like, oh, you can't do any upgrade in the next 2 years because, rip meso income. So it's only boss, so that you can, spread the net a little bit.
I'll start being ready, like making my Shadow and Demon Slayer ready for the for that bridge when I come to it.
Exactly.
I'm prepping it, so.
Is there before we go into like more details and stuff with the equips, is there any are there any systems in the game? Because I guess your boyfriend is higher level, so he probably explained a bunch already. But are you familiar with my commands a little bit, how those work, or do you have any other like overarching like questions just to kind of explain certain systems or anything like that?
I guess like I guess the question I really wanted to answer that I feel like wasn't really in your commands. It's more of like a if you had to rate dailies on importance, for each stage of the game, like what would like the priorities for like this state that like in the stage that I'm in, like I'm guessing Arcane River dailies are like 1, and then like what would it be, like Monster Park getting the medal 2, like Ursus 3, or like
I go by level here. Yeah, my daily schema just goes by level, but it doesn't have any like internal priority. That's true. I would say these are like foundational just for like your income, right? So you got Maple Tour, Monster Park. Rudibus is mentioned here for soul shards, so that's definitely one you could drop. It's just for extra. It's more like daily bosses. And it's got Ursus here, of course. Commercy, that's up to you how far you're gonna push. If you think you can get access to pitch pretty early and you're sitting on like 17 or 19 star, I'd probably push Sweetwater eventually up to 19, especially if you're like considering 21 or 22 on CRA. That probably means that your Sweetwater or whatever your other accessories are should already all be at least 19 or 20. I would think, like either transferred or brought up to 19, because it's pretty comparatively it's going to be pretty free to get up to 19, and 17 to 19 is a pretty big gain if you can get that on a few pieces. So that's why that's mentioned here. But again, that's like in the background, and as long as you do them every now and then, you can build up a pretty healthy amount.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
if I tell my boyfriend to tap his eye patch to 22, he'll come back and join me for community party quests. It'll be a little bit easier for me to find a group.
yeah, because then he'll need another one because it's gonna boom 100%. Yeah, that's right. Sabotaging.
Yeah, exactly.
Magnus is the same thing as Rudibus here. Legion dailies and dojo is more just like a if you need the resources, right? I do Legion dailies just automatically because I think it's pretty fast for extra 30 coins, just to be able to afford the upgrades and the coupons. In priority, it's probably I don't know like a B to an A tier or something like that. Dojo I would say is pretty low. It's mostly if you need extra XP coupons and if you want to keep up your spirit pendant. So if you're really grinding, then you know like 1 week of a good dojo could also already be enough for spirit pendants for like 6 weeks or something. You know, so as long as you do it every now and then you're good.
When does dojo I've actually never really interacted with the dojo system.
Mhm.
So,
So I think. Yeah, it says I have it said here. I don't even know, but like, thank you past me for writing it down. I guess. So this due weekly before 11 p.m. So that would be UTC, right? So server time on Sunday, and then you get your points on Monday. I think either half an hour or an hour after reset, because it takes apparently that long to do the ranking. The run itself gives you almost no points, but it's that ranking on Monday that gives you a big chunk of points depending on how far you get.
Oh, okay, then I see.
Yep. So try to just, you know, get a good run, get as far as you can. If you like die 6 minutes into some dumb skill, some dumb damage reflect or something, then maybe run again after that. But as long as you feel like, you know, you did it somewhat your best. It's kind of like a culvert run, but just extended.
Okay, I did it for the first time. Past like floor 30. I just did the floor 30 to unlock the fog thing.
Yep.
A while back. Then I finally did it like yesterday, and I hit floor 50 in like 14 minutes 40 seconds. So, but like,
sounds good.
I don't know what to do with the points. I just have points.
Yeah,
So
it's you have to be top 70%, and then based on the floor, you get more points on Monday.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know the exact
so the top
amount.
70%, that's determined like on Sunday, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, like the hour before until the half hour after, yeah. The rankings get tabulated, so then I don't think you'll be able to enter even if you try to enter during that time.
Oh, okay. I don't think I'll get
like,
up there just because Adele is so popular, so...
That is true, yeah. But if you have a lot of people running, you also have a lot of low-level people running, so top 70% should then, you know... But again, the main thing is just you'll get top 70% easily. But the main thing is going to be just the further you get, the more points you get. But I think the spirit pendant is only like 3k, 4k or something. So I think one good run probably nets you like 16k points or something. So that'll be enough for 4 or 5 weeks.
Wait, I only got 1.6k, or did I not claim my points? I'll go look into the system later. Thanks. I'll look into it.
Yeah, if you clear 50, it should be at least, I don't know the numbers, but I think it's something like 12, 13, 14k, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Unless you weren't top 70%, then you need to just, you know, you gotta work harder.
I was number 3 when I cleared.
Yeah, well. Did you clear on Monday, or did you clear like Sunday, 5 minutes before we said? Yeah, okay. Well, you could be rank 1, but if it's Monday first thing, then yeah.
Oh my god, I'll screenshot.
It's good for your ego, though. Yeah, take a screenshot, print it, put it on the wall, like rank 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
What have here? Ramaru. Okay, that has no business being color for this long. Hang on. Madman fodder is not going to be as important, but
fodder for like, you mean like Arcarium?
No, just the Ramaru stuff as fodder for the Absolab stuff. I don't know why it's color for this long. What else do we have here? This is more where the important stuff comes in, right? Yeah, so here you have all the symbol dailies. So I would say symbol daily is definitely S tier. Normal arc is probably S tier as well, just because the drop rate for, you know, primals and dominators, and it's just so abysmally low that that is probably, I would say that's like S tier necessity.
Yeah, I like didn't get a dominator pendant until the day they made the Sweetwater transposition changes, and that's also the day I got my first pat mark too.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like cruel, very cruel, you know? It's like,
Yeah, I did
I
too. Like
had
my
like
first run on
1,000
my
coins.
buff.
I was
Yeah.
just like, hmm.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Who knows if they hadn't changed it? Maybe would have waited even longer. So it was a blessing in disguise.
yeah. It's like now that you don't, now that it's not as good, you can have it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Rest is all weekly, so I'm assuming you find some time during the week to do these, right?
Yeah, the weeklies I typically do, except the Tenebrious bosses. Sometimes I find a group, sometimes I don't.
Yeah, I think that's normal around your level. It's really once you're like committing to the leveling and you're going beyond. Yeah, like it's more like 250. If you know for sure you're going from 255 up to 260,
Yeah,
like you're making that, then it makes more sense to look for those parties. But then you also get in like this weird situation, like do you solo, but then you're really kind of doing it for the mezzo, and how long does the boss fight take, and you need to look for your weeklies, and you've got limited playtime. Doesn't it make more sense to just do a weekly, like a boss mule in that same amount of time and make like 3 times the money? Or you go
yeah,
for a party for hard, but then the chance of a drop is already so low, and then you have like 1 in 6 chance of actually getting it. Like then it becomes more of a time management question. Like, do you feel like doing it this week? Then do it. Do you not feel like doing it? Just like hard skip it. Or if someone else is running and they have a spot, then maybe you join them, something like that.
yeah, yeah. I feel like for normal
Okay.
gloom, it's like decent chunk is like 120, 130 mil.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if
But if
you
that
if
takes
you
10
do it right,
minutes, right? Yeah, and if you could do like Kale's Queen and Kale's Von Bon on another character in that same time, you're making 100 and what is it,
I've been too
162
scared to
mil.
try. I
Yeah.
have been too scared to try on like my mules,
Mm-hmm.
even though I've like kind of geared them in Star Force their stuff. I don't know. There's an innate fear of failing a boss I do every week.
Mm-hmm. Well, I
It holds
mean,
me back.
the
Yeah,
biggest failure is not trying it at all, because
true.
then you don't get the
Okay.
money and you don't learn anything, right?
Yeah, okay. I'll try on my Demon Slayer this week. I've been inspired. I'll do it.
Yeah. Just remember, you have like 3 iframes, so you can immune most of the fight.
Yeah, if I respec and take all my points out of Metamorphosis, I'll have even shorter cooldowns.
Yeah, I
So,
heard that. I heard
yeah.
about that. Apparently, that's not really worth it, but it's like some people just go high level. They go for cooldown skip on the inner ability just for the chance of those 2 iframes skipping, so you have
Okay,
them even
true.
more. I think that's
Yeah.
mostly a strat for high level. If you want to do high level bossing with the Ruin Force Shield, because that thing will kill you.
I don't know if I have the hands to use
Yeah,
such
no,
a
it's tricky.
yeah, a monkey's paw kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is all still symbol dailies if it comes to dailies. Whereas, yeah, and everything else is mostly weeklies, which you're more flexible with that. You've got
Yeah.
Gall Helix.
Dude, honestly, I kind of just skip VJ or Choo Choo the PQ unless someone's like, "Hey, can you carry my mule?" Because I feel
Mm-hmm.
like those symbols are like out level the other ones, so they're not gonna be the ones time gaining me as hard. But if it switches up, then I'll probably go back to doing them religiously.
So, you don't do the PQ ones, or you don't do the kill ones?
Just like for the first 2 regions, I don't do
Mm-hmm.
the PQ ones all the time because I feel like VJ takes so long unless someone else like needs it on like a mule. I just kind of like, oh,
Hmm.
yeah, kind of have to think
Yeah,
about it.
I kind of get that. I would for Muto, I wouldn't leave it though, because it's, especially at your level, you can probably do it in like under 60 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's 15 symbols instantly.
Okay. True. Yeah.
It's just that is just a lot of value, right? So if you're looking at Dream Defender, that's the reason why you don't like climb every single day from floor 1 in Dream Defender. Like technically you get more
Oh, yeah,
points and blah blah blah, but the amount of gains per time that you spend is just horrible, right? That's why you don't try to climb from 70 to 80 or like 90 to 100 every single day. If you can do 90,
I don't
you just
even
log
do
in,
it
clear
for
90, autocomplete,
yeah.
get out, right?
I like went from floor like 60 to floor 100. I
Mm-hmm.
just like refused to climb for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then like after the 5, 10, 15, it's like, okay, I'll climb.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then when you have 100, 110 is a lot of work, so you can just auto complete 100 and then boom, that's 10 symbols plus the extra one, so like 11 symbols a day.
Yeah. I got 11 symbols just from Lashlane. The Dream Defender. So pretty comfortable with that.
Yeah, the PQs are also changing, right? So
I
they're
heard you
gonna
get less after they change it for Lashlane and
Arcana, I believe.
yeah, Arcana, yeah.
Yeah, and the other ones go up slightly. But the main thing is that you get a whole week's worth in one go. So you get like 7x the value per time. So then definitely don't skip them, okay? Because then you're getting like 100 symbols in 2 minutes. Yeah.
I think knowing that they're like making Spirit Savior easier has given me a lot of like willpower to like do it, because I actually quite enjoy Spirit Savior. And I'll do it like past like the 10k, you know, just for fun.
Yeah. Well, I like, especially if you can only skip one, I like just doing 15k and then just throwing the second one and then auto skipping the last one. But I think it's a good piece of content of having relatively low pressure and like low stakes, but having something chasing you, and having to learn how to use all of your sources of mobility, you know, in a relatively low risk environment. And I think that's something that is good to practice, because then you're doing Will, you know, then you're doing Tenebra's bosses, then you're doing Black Mage. Like now there's way more pressure, and you have to already have your muscle memory ready at that point, right? You can't start learning your muscle memory then, because it's going to be horrible. But if you learn the muscle memory of like, where's my mobility, what are my timings, and you don't have to look at the bottom right of your screen every single time and like, is it off cooldown? That will, I think, help you a lot with the higher level boss fights, so that you can focus more on your cooldowns of your of your burst and your communications and your callouts, rather than having to figure out what do you use for mobility when. So I'm not a big fan of the change in it, and that they can take you out of the 10k, because I think it's going to make for shorter runs, so you have fewer situations, which means it takes longer to practice all of the situations that can help. And Dream Defender is kind of similar, because you also have to learn how to move around the map. It gets very repetitive very quickly.
I thought it was super brain dead. Yeah.
Well, there is some, there's some strats with some summons that you can leave in certain areas, for example, and
I guess
you could do some extra stuff, but yeah, it gets brain dead pretty quickly, and then they're changing that to just like find the picture or something. Like it's a little.
Find the picture. Oh.
Yeah, they have like one object that you have to find, and then you just go through the areas, and then if you find the object and you kill the monsters in the map, then you get your points or something. Okay. Yeah, it's a little weird. Well, to circle back to like the logic that you have behind it, though, like they're not going to be the ones that hold you back on maxing. That is correct, but they are the ones that are going to be the easiest to max the earliest, which means they're going to take pressure off of the other symbols for having to level faster. You're going to hit your intervals of extra bonus damage on arcane power quicker, and that's going to mean that you can more reliably do well for mobbing. It's probably still going to be fine in Limina if you're dropping Meso gear because of damage, but it might make the difference of well, you're going to get stat faster, right? So that's like free damage, but it's going to shrink the amount of time in a day that you're doing dailies.
Later on, yeah. I think like just currently, like in specifically like right now, I'm just like trying to get like my publication out. It's been really kind of chaotic, so yeah, later, like I think when like I'm a little bit less dead, yeah, I'll be doing it every day. Yeah, for sure.
Because it can be one thing. I mean, this is kind of like what the game wants you to do as well. They just want you to play more. But like the thought behind it is like, oh, I can't do my dailies now because my dailies are 30 minutes. But if you did 5 or 10 minutes of dailies of like the easy symbols for a longer time first, then the clump of your dailies would only be 15 to 20 minutes. So then you have more situations where you could kind of squeeze it in. So you want to get to the.
I honestly I use my dailies to keep my crippling depression at bay when like
I see.
Doing work throughout the day. So
you can see like yellow bar go up. So that's
it's
a little bit of dopamine.
My little serotonin, my little serotonin.
I see.
So like, oh my god, like I really need to stop looking at my code, and I was like, okay.
Look at the inventory full of colorful balls. Yay, marbles. Yeah. Look at the shiny thing. Whatever you need to keep that at bay, because that's not fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Sometimes I just keep it open in the background so I can alt tab, look at like my pretty pixels, and just like go back
yeah,
to work.
yeah, cute outfits, and then back into the once more into the breach after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing with like Cernium daily, no, not Cernium dailies, but like you've got the dailies in Moonbridge and all of that stuff. You could do those for EXP if you want to. I heard they're pretty good EXP, but I've never
Oh,
really
okay.
chased those myself. In the beginning, people would do them for the flames, but you know, now that you have practice mode for Black Mage, that's really not necessary for the flames. But the EXP I heard is pretty good. But it's up to you if you want to take that up into your rotation. If you feel it takes too much time, you can drop that pretty quickly as well.
So would you consider that like B tier or like daily?
Uh, yes. Yeah,
Okay.
B or maybe
Should I do Monster Park before doing that?
yes.
All right.
Because Monster Park is also coin access into keeping your MPE pots or MP pots on at all times and on your mules as well to make sure that you can keep leveling there, right? Gold
Oh
pot, green
yeah,
pot.
like the little gold
Yeah.
pots. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always throw like 20
Mm-hmm.
at them. Yeah.
Yeah, and once you feel like you've got enough of a buffer, you can lower down a little bit. But I definitely go for the Monster Parker medal at least on your main, and after that you
Oh,
can
I'm
kind of
4 weeks
decide.
away.
Yeah.
I had a period of time where like Mondays and Tuesdays were like my really bad days. So like I'm 4 weeks behind on those ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll like catch up now that it's kind of reversed.
For me, it's Wednesdays are horrible because that's just the patch day.
Oh,
So
unfortunate.
yeah, that's usually the one
Yeah.
where the game is down for
They're
too
just like,
long.
you can't play. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like 2 characters behind on that.
Yeah, that's why I feel like the compensation box is just like let
Yeah.
you like
It gives you like, oh, here's 30 symbols. So like, bro, if I just do all of them on one character, that's like 120. Like, what are you giving me like a
yeah,
quarter of a
like
character?
yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. Okay, does that clear that up? Priorities?
Yeah, that clears it up. Yeah,
Cool.
priorities. Yeah, that definitely helps a lot.
Okay, I see Links and Legion screenshot. Sorry, Link skill screenshot here. Do you have any questions for that? I'm trying to read this, but like reading in paint is
Yeah, no, take
horrible,
your
so
time.
I'm not faulting you. Training, etc. Mostly bossing. Sometimes swap for Spirit of Freedom. Yeah. Oh yeah. Were you saying it wasn't maxed yet, right? So.
Yeah, I don't really like any of the resistance classes so far. Maybe I'll like Xenon. I haven't tried, but
They've
yeah,
been
so
forgotten for the longest, so that makes sense.
yeah,
I
I
wouldn't
like
put it
gold.
in. I wouldn't put it instead of unfair advantage though.
Oh, okay. What would you switch?
Well, just percentage-wise, elementalism is worse, right? Because you're gonna
Oh,
gonna be pretty much always fighting bosses that are lower level than you, and
yeah.
they're always gonna be debuffed. So unfair advantage gives you 12%, and
Oh, I
elementalism
totally
is 10.
forgot that elementalism was 10%.
Yeah.
I just like mentally filled it in as like a 15%.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, because like you have the demons and you have elementalism, and it
yeah.
feels like goes on the same pile. Yeah.
Oh, whoops. Yeah.
It's only a 2% damage difference, but just
Oh, that's okay. I can throw it. I can throw it on my. I can throw it on like a mule I'm training. So you know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's
quickly
for
gain.
training is very solid. It's like an easy 10%
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Over yeah, and then training, etc. I mean, I see you got close call here on training. That doesn't really do much, right? Unless you're thinking
Yeah.
of hard inting on that character. And Spirit of Freedom doesn't do anything for training either. So anything like
Yeah.
so you got the Lara. Yeah, and you've got the you got the Bravado. What are you missing here? Oh, you don't have the Demon Avenger here in this setup, like Wild Rage, right? You definitely want to have that in your training setup.
Yeah. I don't know why it's not there. I think I was like on an alt that I was like trying to level,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe I didn't want to take it from my main. 'Cause
Yeah.
maybe
Okay.
I was like, yeah, trying to do like Helix, waiting on a Helix later.
Mm-hmm.
Helix train later. So I was like, oh, I won't take everything.
Yeah, you can always make the presets though, and then you don't have to select them in the moment, but you just have the preset ready, and then when you're done with a character,
Yeah.
you just click preset, boom, done.
Oh my god, I'm a miser with my link skills. I see the little like 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and immediately I'm like, yeah, I'm not switching them anymore. But yeah, so for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that looks good. Yeah, I don't know if you have any questions for Legion or Like your grid setup looks good. I would say the good priorities. Definitely try to focus on the top left, especially once you go to 6k. You might have to take out a boss damage temporarily, just to make sure that you have the top left and the bottom left completely done, the critical damage and the ignore defense.
Okay, yeah.
Prioritize those, definitely.
Prioritize the ignore defense just because it's such a huge chunk from a single soul.
Yep, exactly.
Valuable.
Yeah, and I would also do it because you're gonna lose some IED because you have to redo your weapon.
Yeah, for sure. I've actually thrown like I think like 12 bill at my emblem and maybe like 6 bill at my weapon. I haven't really gotten anything good. I think like my secondary ate all my luck for like.
Is it the 12-30 thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's And I've just been unlucky with my WSE ever since. I'm stuck on crit, and I don't even need crit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it does mean that your hyperstats doesn't have to be as high, and that you definitely don't need to go for critical rate into the Legion board, so that's fine. But prior the critical damage and the IED, and then the boss damages with everything that comes after 6k. Basically, you can start dumping in there.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think now with my 30 boss spam, I'm probably just gonna fill out the rest of the other 2 regions.
Exactly, boss spams plus you're probably gonna keep a line on your weapon. So that
depends on how lucky I get.
Yeah, no, that's true. But you're most likely gonna have at least 1 line on your weapon. That's like a 40-9-9 or a 13-30-30, 13-30. Yeah, 13-30-30 could also still be good, right? Or 13-30-10. Ideally.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to get. I really want to get 2-line attack or more or something.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like that also was calculated into my advice before on like the damage from mobbing and everything, because you definitely want to get more monster damage, like training damage out of your weapon compared to now. So that's also going to take a little bit more pressure, like 1 line of attack there versus having a silver blossom ring or another ring as your drop gear. That's going to be just exponentially more important, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it's okay to just leave that for what it is and not worry about that too much.
Yeah.
Matrix looking good. Yeah, just slowly working up on your skills. Do you got like the priority in your head on which ones you're leveling, or are you kind of like evenly leveling up all your skills here? Because they're pretty close.
Oh, are you talking about my like skill nodes themselves, or?
Yeah, skill nodes. Yeah.
I kind of just like I got itchy. I just crafted the rest I needed. My skill nodes, I just like open like 50 a day, and if I get something, I'll like throw it in, you know. And
okay.
Then, yeah, and I know I need to level the will skill, not like the arachnid will, but like
it's over on the way. It's level 13, so that's good.
Yeah, and also holy symbol. If I throw it in. For the decents, I know it's like not super worth it.
Yeah,
but
especially if you have auto buff, it's not really worth it. Yeah.
But sometimes I've noticed that like my auto buff will go off and I'll die to something I shouldn't die to in a boss fight because it's just unlucky. So I was considering maybe leveling up some of them, but I think that's like a way down the line kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, because I mean, think about it. Like, I think freezers, just a 5 mil from a freezer for the few times that happens, I think is more valuable because they'll allow you to not use all of those nodes, but instead use them on the boss mules and on side characters instead, and bring them up way faster. And then you just spend, because how often does it happen? Maybe like when do you not have buff freezers?
Not buff. Like it wasn't like the buff freezers. Like not like I have buff freezers. I always check.
But you should keep your decents, right? So.
Yeah. But it's like, sometimes like I'll suddenly like lose a chunk of HP because my like decents went off.
Right. Okay.
And suddenly I'm not full health, and I'll die to the like for instance like the will test, the first like just fucking kills me. I'm like, oh wait, I thought I was full HP. Whoops.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see for like more advanced gaming and people who have a lot of buttons, a lot of a lot of hands, they will actually put it all on manual.
Okay. Ooh.
It's that. Do you have auto HP?
I do have auto HP, but I think in Will Part 2, like the
Yeah, we'll
Like
brush your nose. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
I set the HP thing a little bit low
Mhm.
on the lower end, but maybe
I
I
think I
should
have
raise
it
it.
on. I think like 55 to 60%. I think is where I have it.
Oh wow, okay. I like put it at like 30%. And so that's why I also have like pots on
Yeah.
my like keyboard
So I think
too.
I have it.
Just in case.
I think it's around. Yeah, if it, whatever this is, I don't know if you can see it on stream. So like 55 to 60. I feel like that works very well
Okay. I'll set mine a little bit higher.
because there's just too
But
much
yeah, it's
stuff that
happened to
does
me.
50% and then kills you on 50% stuff already.
Yeah, like sometimes in Gloom, I'll be like, oh, I'm full health. And then like the normal light comes and just kills me. I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
because my defense must have went off.
Yeah, like yeah, because they do like 90 or 95 or something. You really can't be hit by too much, right? If you one of
Yeah,
those,
I
yeah.
think even if I just like leveled one of my decents or like two of my decents, that way like the cooldown time, or the like buff duration times are like a bit more scattered.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go into a boss fight, it doesn't all hit me at once.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, just get
Make sure they'll have like different cooldowns. Yeah, so they don't
yeah,
they stagger a little bit instead of getting clustered.
yeah.
Yeah. That's the same thing with healing FAMs, right? Because they all come out at the same time. Sometimes people like take them off, take them back out, and then take them back
Oh,
out so that they stagger a little bit, so you don't get all the healing at once.
oh, okay. Oh, I'll try that actually.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know.
Might help, yeah. Because sometimes you're just waiting forever to get healed, and then when you get healed, you always get full HP. It's like, okay, this would be way more valuable if
Yeah,
it was like every 10 seconds one of them triggers. Like that would be, because then you're just constantly getting full HP, right? So.
yeah, I've noticed that in like Will. I'm like, I have so many
Mm-hmm.
healing fams out.
Like
Why
I
am I
should be
like
full
low health
HP. Yeah.
right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not face checking literally everything. I should be doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that could help. Yeah, I guess you get like a spare extra boost node. I guess that one.
I was told, that, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I was like in the Adele Discord,
Mm-hmm.
but then like I was like, oh, these people are very elitist and shit, so I left. But I like heard that I should be using like, that I should prepare a like shard break slash like res like impale or something. I think it's like impale or resistance. Let me double check. That I should have like a shard break, um, node ready on the side, and like when I get high enough, I can like put it in. You know, it's for impale, resonance rush, and shard breaker.
Mm-hmm.
Because resonance rush, like you use it fairly often, just because you need to keep the buff up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't really use shard break, but yeah, I was just like made aware that it's like a thing people do, so
Okay.
just have it on.
I'd heard of that before, but I'll look into it. Shardbreak is yo, if you don't use Shardbreak, use it on Ursus. You just nuke Ursus with that. But that's
Oh
cool.
yeah, I use it on Ursus as soon as
Hard
like my
chunk.
screen stops freezing, you know?
Yeah, as soon as you can stop
As soon
watching
as
the
I can
PowerPoint
move.
presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've seen like strong people can just like chunk 40% of Ursus with one Shardbreaker. It's kind of gnarly because
Yeah.
it hits all the pieces or something.
Yeah.
I like doing it just to have the crystals out there, especially if you're
Okay.
soloing. But
Yeah, it's
sometimes
like
it puts
helpful
too
for
many,
like
and then you don't know which one you're going to be dashing to, and then it's negative again.
I feel like it always dashes me to the closest crystal. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it's really annoying because if you're doing Helix and you know how you automatically spawn some
Yeah.
crystals, you
Mm-hmm.
spawn it directly in the middle of Helix instead of like I'll put down like a crystal like on the other side of him,
Yeah.
like thinking, oh, I'll resonance rush to it when he's gonna breathe, you
Yeah.
know?
And
When
you
he's gonna
stop
breathe
short,
on me.
and you're like right
And
in the
then
breath.
the crystal spawns there, and instead of dashing to the I'll dash to the middle one and die.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
well,
then hopefully you stop
yeah.
short so that you don't even go through the target, so you don't even like stack the charge either. It's like the worst
Oh
of both worlds.
yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely never happened on my Adele.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
no,
I
other
know
than
like some adults jump up, they'll like jump up and then like a diagonal dash down because it lets them like better like not it lets them like not go to the closest one, I think.
okay, all right. Well,
Yeah,
maybe
but
I'll
I
try
don't
that
know.
too.
That takes too many
Um,
hands.
but yeah, from what I know, might be good if you're ever crafting the skill nodes. For I think the priority is Infinity Blade first, then Weapon Aura, then Ruin,
Okay.
and then Empress. I think because big bursty. It's like huge amount of attack, right? and then it's kind of just whatever for the other ones.
Oh, goddess?
Yeah.
Or oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, got it. Yeah, it's called different. Yeah, whatever the blessing is, the big blessing, right? There's a lot of
Okay.
weapon attack for you Adele. I remember from my arc, it's a huge buff because of the percentages and whatever.
Yeah.
But other than that, looks good. We talked about the BA. Yeah, so when you see that one, you see that you're definitely with the FAMs and everything. You've got very good IED. So I feel very confident just running off of or rolling away from your current potential and definitely just chasing more attack. Your boss is
Okay.
also good because of the FAMs. And then, Link skills and Legion are just going to go complement that later on.
So I have a line of IED on my secondary, but I'm very reluctant to re-roll it.
Yeah, no, rightfully so.
Okay.
Yeah, because the other ones are 24. Like, if it had 24 and like a line of stat or something, I would not say reroll either. If it's line of IED, that's even better because it's something useful, so that gives you breathing room to take more chance on other things.
Yeah. Okay then.
Yeah, WC wise, I would definitely not. If you were to ever go for like a better secondary, I would almost say just legendary a second one, and then just go full ham on red cubes on that one until you roll what you want.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah,
it's
that's
it's like a bill extra, which in the grand scheme of things is like nothing.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, and that means you can roll risk free and you don't have to worry about black cubes. So that'll be financially a better.
Okay, this is gonna sound really, really like really Pepega, but like I've only really been using black cubes. Like I know more expensive, but something about the uncertainty of red cubes really puts me off.
Yeah, and I understand it. And then this is also the main reason why a lot of people have like 12-star gear, but it's already legendary. Because one is just like a perception of higher risk, and for some situations it will be, and then it is the right call to do. But just like with the secondary, what makes more sense is just making a second one and throwing it on the side. The main way that you can kind of figure out is it a good idea or not is just to throw it into the calculator, right? I don't know if you use those at all.
Yeah, I actually don't like cube that much. Just like I feel like the things I deem to be like kind of important. I know that like most of your damage will come from stars, just because you need something to scale your like percent stat off of and your percent attack off of.
So, yeah, you get a lot of weapon attack. Yeah, it's a crazy amounts at the higher level.
Yeah. So that's kind of like what I like prioritize my mesos towards.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, I haven't bothered getting my arcanes to like all my arcanes like legendary, unless it was like the glove or weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just like roll them with boss cubes. So eventually, like when the cube sale comes out, I'll like go and fix everything. And I don't know, maybe I'll fix my weapon off like cube sale, but
yeah, and I think that's if you do anything off event, I would say cubing, especially cubing when it's relatively certain that gains are there. Like I would say anything short of 3-laying, I would say is like pretty you're free to do that. I would say off cubing event, so that you really just save up some buffer for when it's an actual cubing event, then you really push for those 3-line. But yeah, just to see like if you have any kind of combination of just attack on boss 3-line on red cubes, the median cost is 4.3 and 6.2 average on red cubes, and then if you select black cubes instead, the cost goes up like more than 50%, just because how much more expensive the cubes are. And yes, you have that backup of keeping what you already have, but because you're taking less risk, you are guaranteeing to a higher degree that you're not going to make an upgrade.
Okay.
So sometimes it's better to just hold on to more money, wait longer, and then just mass red cube.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
Alright, that makes sense.
Feels like a detour, but you'll get there faster in the end.
I don't mind sacrificing a little bit of power now for a bigger power gain later, especially since I'm not like on the cusp of doing something that Yeah.
Well, yeah, we talked about it in the beginning, right? Just like throwing your money at something. It's got to be functional. You can't just like, if you upgrade because you want to or because you can, then you're never done. It's going to have some purpose somewhere. Otherwise, yeah. endless
I
tapping.
think I'm just kind of like one of those people that's like kind of like, I don't know. I'm like super Chinese or something, you know. Like, I
Yeah.
only do
What
things
does
on
that What does that
film.
mean? Super Chinese.
Yeah.
Just walk around constantly doing lo mein. Is that? I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Is that what being super
Also
Chinese is?
rooming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always looking for Lotus and Damien.
Yeah. It's my culture, guys. My
Yeah,
culture.
it's your culture. Oh yeah, backups. You got the Dreadnought, yeah, so that's good. You got the
Oh,
backups
I'm
here.
sitting on like
3.
600 coins right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my friend accidentally took my superior earring like 2 days ago.
Oof.
It was in the corner.
Hope you kicked
Yeah.
him from your buddy list. That's
It's okay. It happened to
major
him with someone else today, so
major party
happy.
foul. Yeah, that's the main thing, right? Is do you if in general you're okay with waiting for opportune moments, you can throw your money towards things that are just have to be brute forced with money, and then something that can potentially slow down your progress because you have to buy them from a shared resource. So that would be like arcanes, because droplets, for example, that comes back to mesos, or something like superiors, because that goes back into the Galax coins, or something like the dineros, right? That's all like a shared unit. If there's any kind of way that you can bypass the risk by just waiting longer, and then as a result of waiting longer,
Yeah.
you could just get yourself more backups to do it in a safer way. I would always try to do that to push things back, and then prioritize the ones where you don't have to do that, so that you give yourself the opportunity to get your value from that. So with like the superior, I don't know though, because this one is still epic. What's the history with the superior earring?
Um, I just okay, so I didn't want to like cube it because I was like, oh well, I'm going to fodder reinforce into it anyway, so it's gonna be epic. So
Mm-hmm.
anything I get now is more of like it's like a rental potential, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm just like, why would I rent, you know, if I can buy later?
Okay,
So
sure, yeah.
I just kind of like left it epic.
Right.
I just like cubed it for some strength and like, okay, it's good enough. When I get it to like 20 star, and then I'll like make it um legendary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like my ring, my superior Golex ring before this weekend was like also like it was unique or epic or something with like the
Mm-hmm.
minus. And once I got it to 20, I was like, okay, I'll like make it I'll make it legendary now.
Yeah, and there's probably going to be like two situations. One is like, okay, it's like 17 star and it's like good unique potential, or maybe a legendary, and one is
Yeah.
it's 20 star and maybe it has like okay epic potential, because if it's already 20, I know I want to get it to 21, but then if it booms 20 to 21 and you invest a lot into the potential, you have to do it all over again. But
Yeah.
I would either
Oh, okay.
pick one
I'll
of those
wait.
two. Yeah, so either invest a little bit at 17 and then make that big jump in one go, or at least
Oh,
like the 20 jump, right? And then you're okay with holding on, having good potential on 17, because you're holding on to it for
right.
a while, because you need to wait for the backups.
You're right. I
But if
didn't
it,
I
yeah.
didn't think it through. I got too excited.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just trying to like like
Yeah.
align it a little bit, right, to make it like
Yeah,
internally
yeah,
somewhat
true.
consistent. Yeah. In general, I
I
would
also
also
just
say, go for it.
I also just like I tend to be the kind of person that sits on 20s. I'm like risk averse, so
Yeah, no,
I like stop.
I'll never, I'll never do like why isn't it 21 or 22? Like that makes total sense to me. I'll have characters that are like full 20 star. Like, you know what 20 star is? That's 1 star more than 19. That's what that is. It's not 2
Yeah.
less than 22. It's 1 more than 19. That's what it is. So,
Yeah.
you can laugh all you want, but I'm like stronger because I didn't risk it before I could. Before I had the resources, before the upgrade made sense.
Yeah.
I would say the stuff that's legendary and that's gonna stay, so like the Twilight Mark, you can definitely push more on the potential there.
Okay, yeah.
And accessories are high tier for recubing, because they have a relatively low amount of junk lines, so there's good returns there. And if you ever trace it, it's gonna go into the exact same item, so that one would
Yeah.
be a good priority for
Yeah,
that.
that's why I was like pretty comfortable with legendary.
Mm-hmm.
highlight mark right away.
Yeah, but I think if you're gonna legendary it, you also want to give it a potential that's worthy of getting into legendary. Otherwise, you're paying that upfront cost of tiering it up, but you're not capitalizing on it with the stats that go hand in hand with that tier.
Yeah.
So I think for epic, it's okay to have 6 or 9%. For unique, I would say always like at least 9, but I probably on accessories go at least for 12 to 15. And if you're going legendary, I would at least go for like 2 full lines, so at least for 21.
All right.
And you have the cubes, right? So you get the cubes from the bossing, redirect them for now, you hit what you want, and then retarget.
For sure. Okay. I shall do that.
Yeah. Really nice cup flame, so that's
Oh yeah, I just fuse the cups that I get.
Mm-hmm.
So like every time I get I go to Pink Bean, instead of like disassembling the cups, I just like fuse them for like a chance at a flames. So I hit, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, but now you put the bar pretty high as well. If you ever get a book, it's gonna have a pretty decent flame to even beat this one.
Yeah, I got lucky. I think fusing, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like fusing things gives you a higher flame. Maybe I'm capping though.
It depends on your rank of alchemy.
Oh yeah, I'm Meister, so.
Yeah, if you're Meister, you get the same outcome as an eternal flame, basically, on a fusion.
Okay, yeah, so.
It's the other thing is also so like just double clicking your pieces for CRA, for example, something like that. That's also an eternal flame roll, and getting the drop from the boss itself is also always an eternal flame roll.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's why sometimes people are like, oh my god, I got like a crazy drop. It's actually a higher chance from a drop individually than if you use a powerful flame. But of course, drop is once a day or once a week sometimes, and flames you can roll infinitely. So power in numbers there.
Okay. Yeah, I see.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's way higher than most people go on their pink holy cup. If you set this as a standard for like your CRA or something, that's going to be quite a valuable flame to have to chase.
Oh, I don't want to buy flames.
Yeah, no, you wanna buying flames is like when everything is 21 and you're like waiting for 22 for an event, and then you can work on your flames,
Yeah.
Or you want to stat flex, something like that.
Oh, I'm not a stat flexer. My stat is so low, but I'm like, guys, I swear I have the damage. Here's my BA.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would hope that you're not a stat flexer, not even 30k, dude.
No.
That's a mage. No, yeah, that's that'll come, right? And like you said, it's compounding of a lot of stuff, right? It's like the potentials and the base numbers, so like and the Star Force and the flames, a little bit of everything combined. So if I would look short term, I would definitely look towards so cubing wise, I would recube the face and the weapon. So for weapon, definitely look for at least 2 lines attack or any combination with boss. Maybe double boss attack would be like the lowest to settle for, I would say. Not that this is bad, but IED wise, you can afford to go a little bit lower.
Yeah.
Secondary, if you want to do that, that's mainly if you're going to be like dropping at least 40 bill plus, I would say. But if you're going to drop 40 bill plus, it'd make more sense to do the emblem first, because that's usually I think expected cost is 40 bill, a little bit over 40 or 30 on a sale to 3 line attack. It's not bad. I mean, the 3rd line is at least doing something, so that's
it's not. I'm past cap for crit.
Okay, well, it's not doing anything then. But
yeah, so it's not really doing anything for me. I don't even have hyper stat points in crit. So.
That could get you to the point though where you can get rid of the phantom, right? So if you get a little bit of hyper stat points in, maybe a little bit of legion grid points in, just like those very cheap early ones, then actually with that crit you might be able to take a link skill like crit for phantom out and replace it with something that would just give you flat damage.
Okay.
That's another way to make that critical rate at least do something for you, right? And the bigger your legion is and the more high level character you have, the more outs that creates for you where hitting something will move some stuff around.
Okay, yeah. So I guess like one day when I do hit AK, maybe I'll have a few blocks in the crit rate section. And
yeah, eventually that'll happen, yeah.
Yeah, and then I'll feel the pressure to level an Ilium or something.
Yeah, for sure. Well, for mobbing, I think it's pretty good, right? If you're jumping around and attacking, you want to get that 12% damage from that. For bossing, it's a little, you don't want that pressure on you, especially not during bursting, because when you're bursting, you're probably standing still. And then that's when you want all of the damage to happen. And then if the Ilium destacks during your burst, then it's dead. And then yeah, that's not useful.
I feel like if I go for like a ring of restraint, I feel like the Ilium link skill would just be completely useless for.
Yeah, you'd have to do like
Not that I'll ever do it. I
vertical.
don't think I'll
You'd have to do like vertical displacement to keep
jump
it.
up and down.
Yeah. Do like resonance, like impale resonance rush up and then plummet back down just to keep the stacks up and to build your stack.
Oh yeah, I do that. I do that for Gloom.
Mm-hmm. Like while the stuff is falling down, you're like.
Oh wait, for Gloom, when Adele resonance rushes up, like I've noticed I can go through blue balls without getting stunned when if you resonance rush like straight up through it. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. I feel like that shouldn't be legal, but
only the blue ones. That's the stun ones, right?
Yeah, I don't get stunned if I resonance rush through it. Like upwards, straight up. Like I definitely my hitbox went through the ball for sure, but
okay.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you think it be like it is, but it don't.
Yeah.
Well, you can just jump in place to proc Ilium. Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, if you keep jumping over and over, it might be enough, but still not worth. Yeah, no, I don't think so, because you don't want to accidentally flash jump and then jump out of a roar like this. This is not a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's the other thing, right? Oz. Getting an Oz ring early will make it so that you don't have to put too much pressure on your 4th ring slot. That can save you some time. But oh yeah, we were talking priorities, right?
Slime ring soon, supposedly. I'm supposed to get a slime ring soon. TM.
Soon TM on the drop table, yeah. And then you get the set bonus with the face, which is nice. If you
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, there's definitely some potential gain. Like the arcane shoe as well, right? Yeah, everyone's always talking about a cube sale. I'm not gonna tell like you have to cube now, but I don't see any announcements, and you could be waiting forever. But if you're trying to make some short-term gains, definitely the potential in there. And then don't wait too long with trying to go for double crit damage on the gloves. That is a big damage increase.
Oh, okay, so I'll go for that then.
Yeah, that's usually about an 8. I would say like about an 8 bill project usually.
Should I roll with black cubes for that? Because I know black cubes have. Okay.
Yeah, because of the prime, right? So if you look at that for gloves, you throw that into the where are gloves? I'm blind. Oh, here. For the calculator, if you do 2-line crit damage, the expected cost is like 7.2 up to 10.5 average, and if you would do red instead, then that number just goes up.
Oh yeah.
More rolls, but not enough to offset the chance for double crit or for double prime, mainly because of the 3rd line. So red cubes is like 100% and then 10%, 1% chance for a prime on the lines, and black cube is 100%, 20%, 5% on the bottom one.
All right.
Instead of 2 is 5, so that makes it.
Okay. If I'm ever like if my group is ever like, oh, we're just like we just don't have enough damage, we're almost there on damage or like something, I'll be like, okay guys, let me break out the piggy bank.
Yeah.
Hold up,
like,
I'm gonna go
smash the hammer on that
funds.
thing.
Yeah, go on college funds, put my fucking mesos back in my main. All right, guys. Yeah, cube stream.
or cubing the cape. It's got to be compounding for stuff as well, but a little bit on those. But I would say anything where you have like a main line and the second line is like an all-stat line or something. If you bring everything up to that level, you're already talking about like getting probably like 30 to 40% more strength on all of your gear. It's really just the sum total of everything a little bit. Yeah.
So do you think like if I were to just get a few more lines, like for each like extra line of like percent strength I get, it'll increase everything else that I feel like all my other gains, or
yeah. Well, I mean, you got like a total clump of total percentage strength, right? So if that goes up, all of your other upgrades become slightly more efficient. But I'd say like efficiency wise, the main thing is just getting more attack on the weapon, because the ID line is just not necessary. So it's essentially like, it's like
I got my weapon like basically the first week I started doing H-Lu Will, and I just like cubed it and then just stopped on like on the first.
And now it's time to circle back and to go for like the round 2 basically.
Yeah, I guess I was like distracted by my emblem because it was like, oh, this crit rate line is so ugly. So I would just throw like a bunch of cubes at it, and so I kind of neglected my other things. I'd say.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
weapon, legendaries on things, and if you're going legendary, at least 2 useful lines on the things that, especially if you trace, you just keep the same item.
Yeah.
If you're not keeping the same item, if you trace, then it'd be totally fine to keep it unique, but I would go for 2 useful lines in unique, probably just with all of the hard cubes that you
Alright.
get. And then all of that added together will
Yeah.
see like a nice increase already, but then it's mainly just, grinding out the levels.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So levels, symbols,
Mm-hmm.
uh, priority. Would you say commercy is something I should prioritize?
What are your dineros at right now?
I have like 600, I think. Let me check.
Mm.
I should have brought. I should. Oh, I have 700 right now.
700, yeah. I mean, like for penance, that's 2 backups. So depending on which
I don't
ones
know
you
if
want
I'll
to
do the
do.
pendant.
Yeah, if
I
you
was
don't want to
gonna
do the
stick
penance,
to the
then
classes.
that takes a whole lot of cost off, so.
Yeah, I think the pendant, like the next upgrade pendant, like from V-Hill and stuff, like I think Daybreak pendant,
Mm-hmm.
something. I heard it isn't super rare, so I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, there's always pressure to get the Sweetwater pendant. But then it's like, oh, like the eye accessory, the next upgrade would be like eye patch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many of those are you gonna get? So it's like,
Yeah, not many.
so I'm gonna
Exactly. So,
prioritize
yeah,
the
working on
class.
backups, I think is a good idea. The main thing is just
Yeah,
not like, can you get other items? You can, but the chance is low, and you're most likely going to do it when you have to like share the drops with other people. So it's
yeah,
just gonna that's just gonna take even more away from the odds. And then if you get one, you're probably barely gonna get it to 17. Like, what's gonna be better?
yeah, yeah,
As like even if for source, you're gonna have to start transferring superiors into that. If you ever get one. But even for an eye patch, what are you gonna do? You're gonna like keep it at 17. Well, then you might as well just have a 19 monocle. That's gonna be way easier to get, and it's gonna be stronger.
yeah. I'll anvil it to my monocle and pretend it's the same
Yeah,
thing because it's not like
that's
I'll
what I
get
did. Anvil first, boom later. Yeah, and then.
Yeah, yeah, and especially with like how like transposing was just like it just took so long
Mhm.
to transpose my pat mark onto the thing. It wasn't even with the boss name and stuff. I just wanted like I was just told, oh, it's like you should do that. It like ate so many dineros. I'm just like, I don't know
Mhm.
if I would do that whole thing again
Yep.
with the pendant. Yeah.
Well, I think the main reason why you would do it with a pendant is just so that because Dominators are rare, you already have one that's locked into Mesogear, so you're gonna have to get even more.
Oh, I have 4 more,
Yeah,
but I was
but
gonna save those for my
those are gonna
superior.
become, yeah, again,
Yeah.
superior fodder, and then after that, they're also gonna become source fodder
Oh, okay.
for like superior into, right, very similar to the kind of treasure ring
Yeah.
into the superior first and then into the slime. So you're always gonna need some of them. So the more you can take pressure off of them with something that's more guaranteed, like with the Dineros, again, if you don't have the time and day, that's definitely something that I would say it's like, probably like A tier, maybe going towards B tier. But if you have the time for it, it will take pressure off of the RNG system in the rest of the game. And because everything is already RNG, so if you can replace some RNG with a guarantee, that would help you, more
Yeah.
just to have that security. Plus, it will give the other RNG systems more shared coins, shared backups kind of thing. It'll give you more
Yeah.
breathing room there that you can take some chances earlier on, and then if you're done, then you don't have to circle back again, and then you can scratch that daily off forever because then you're just done with it, right?
Yeah. All right. So then, I guess like this is gonna be like way down the line, right? Like, we're talking like pitch stuff, If I
Yeah,
get a date,
the thing is that if
pendant,
you do
yeah.
the commercy regularly, you can get to 19 and maybe even to 21 on the Sweetwater stuff, and that will take pressure off of needing the pitch, and it also mean if you get it pitched, you can more carefully be just like, I'm gonna have a goal like.
I'll boom it for the Riz. I'll boom it for the street credit,
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Or like, I'm gonna go at least
people,
like 21, and
yeah,
and until it's that point, I don't really care because it's not going to be an upgrade anyway, and then
yeah.
that
I want
gives
to
you
be one of those
more
cool
freedom.
kids that like megaphones they're traced eye
Yes,
patch.
exactly.
Those are
Yeah,
the chads.
it says like 22 or boom, and then it's all
Yeah,
traces. Yeah.
it's free.
Yeah, 22 is free.
Yeah,
That's like only 2 things that could be it. It's either 22 or it's a trace.
yeah. All right. So if I get like a daybreak pendant or something, should I just like
Mm-hmm.
not? Should I like bother replacing, like not using the dominator or saving my dominator? Or like, should I
Yeah,
even
because
use like
it's
something like that?
yeah with the flame gone, and then it gives you a little bit extra bonus with the 3 set. Then right with
Yeah.
that I think
Right.
that's close enough. But again, it'll depend on what kind of Star Force is reasonable there. If there's not many people in the party, other people don't need it anymore. You can get backups. It's very similar to the Twilight Mark in terms of level there. It's like
Yeah.
very in betweeny. But if you can get backups, you can very reliably get to 19 and 21 eventually. And then you just sit on that forever until you get pitch that starts competing with it.
Okay. All right then. All right.
You can say
Good
like
luck.
I'm gonna go for like a 19 Sweetwater that's transposed or something. You know, that's
Yeah.
relatively low cost, but it's very solid, and that gives you breathing room. And again, gives you a little bit more of a less pressure, but you can then go higher on the daybreak before you feel forced to have to switch into it. It has to be significant upgrade before you go all out. You just Star Force it. If the Star Force makes it, then you do the flame and then you do the potential. If it doesn't make it, it's just another trace for the collection.
I don't have to scream every time I attempt a fucking 19, 18, 19, 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right then.
Don't forget the Star Catch, okay?
Oh, sometimes I get really angry and I turn it off.
Yeah, no, I do too. But every 10 minutes
Yeah.
on the clock, right, it resets. So
Yeah. I think it's. I feel like I should just Star Force for like 3 minutes and then go and like smack some mobs and come back after 10 minutes to do it.
or a different
But
character. If you're
yeah.
Star Forcing on a lot of characters, every character has their own meter. So if you
Oh,
alternate, it gives you
okay.
time to reset as well.
I
For
didn't know
me,
that.
yeah, for me though, it's hard to do that because what I do on which character kind of is determined by how much money I have left. So I kind of still need to do the
Oh,
most important stuff first and make sure that that gets
yeah,
done before I can
exactly.
like start splurging on side characters. So.
Okay, yeah. I like store most of my mesas on a side character just
Mm-hmm.
because I have like a gambling problem.
Okay. I thought it
Yeah.
was because you have so much money you can't hold it in one place, but I like your honesty there.
Yeah. I only have money because I don't gamble it away
Mm-hmm.
on like randomly tapping something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything into the savings account, only up to $200 in the checking account.
Yeah, I walk around with 100 mil, just enough for my daily buff freezers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You buy that many? You buy 20 every day?
Well, I mean, depends on what I'm trying, right?
Yeah. If you're trying to like some
I mean,
higher
I'm
level
going into H
bosses.
Lotus, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, it might
yeah,
be a few attempts.
yeah. We'll do
Yeah.
practice mode so it doesn't consume them, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah. I do better in practice mode though. It's something about the real thing, the pressure
Yeah. It's
gets
like,
to me.
now if I fuck it up, you know, then I can
Yeah.
go for another 30 minutes and then, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, well, see you guys back in 30
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, that's gonna be removed soon, thank God.
Oh yeah, thank God.
Changing to the system that it should have always been. If party members are still in there, you have to wait until they exit. That's all they had to do. I don't know why this system ever came to be. It's so silly.
Yeah, there's so many like random things that like next on input, like there are these like weird ass like things that they have that are supposed to like prevent, I don't know, exploits, but
Mm-hmm.
like the others just like lower the quality of life so much. For instance, like if
Yeah.
you're in a party and you don't realize it and you start like farming, right?
Rip
And then later you check
40% of
your
your
mesas and you're
money.
like, why? Where is my money going?
They're
And
not
then
even
later
logged
you
in.
check your
Like, the
mesa,
other
yeah,
person
they're
isn't
not
even
even
logged
logged in. Like, why is
Yeah.
this a thing, you know?
Or storage, right? The storage lag for the longest time.
Yeah, and then one time like a droplet stone dropped, and then I realized I was in a party, so I left the party,
Yeah, and
and
now
I
you can't
couldn't pick
loot
up
it
the
anymore.
droplet stone, and I
Yeah.
fucking sat there and just like, why?
You're just watching it
Yeah,
disappear.
yeah,
It's
and I'm like,
it's
thank,
just like there's
thank you.
multiple ways, you know, to solve a problem, and they seem to take the ways that are the easiest for them to implement, and they kind of solve the problem, but they just create other problems that are sometimes even worse than the original problem that's being fixed. So they just
Yeah,
shouldn't implement that. But and then it takes
yeah.
years to to get something better. Oh well,
Oh well.
our little
Yeah,
special game, you know,
yeah.
small indie dev. They'll get
Or
there.
it's okay. Sometimes I feel bad when their game is down for like a really long period of time, and like they were working on it like overnight. I think back with the what patch was it? It was the game was down for like almost 24 hours or something
Oh
recently. Yeah,
yeah,
and I
that's
was
happened
like,
so many
oh, I
times.
feel
I'm
bad.
foggy.
Yeah, imagine them just being there, like in the office working. Like, oh, that must
Mm-hmm.
suck.
And, well, a lot of
Yeah.
times also like they implement something and then they're just waiting for Korea to send them stuff, and then they try it, it doesn't work, and then they send their feedback, and then they're just waiting for Korea to fix it.
Do you think that on that note, you know how like Korea's like they're doing something where it shows your attack speed in the stat window?
Mm-hmm.
There's been like a tinfoil hat theory going around that like they're gonna like GMS is gonna like
Oh yeah,
increase.
instantly. They
Yeah.
instantly went there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do
I
you think
actually have
that's good?
the yeah, I have I actually have a YouTube short on that one. I think
Oh.
there's like a small chance. I'd say there's
Yeah.
a very small chance that they actually look at the implications. They look at the cost of um, applying it differently for us, and like what kind of development cost that would be. They look at the negative effects of the game, and they
Yeah.
decide to actually implement it. I would say that's like a less than 5% chance that that happens. I think there is
Mm,
a chance that it happens when the patch comes, but just because they copy paste everything and they don't even know that attack speed is like an important thing, or that it's different in
yeah.
GMS and
Because I
KMS.
know, yeah, I know that like the Adeles in Korea do this thing where they actually have higher DPS, so they jump up, like, and like
Float?
plummet and auto
Oh,
attack and jump up, plummet, and yeah, it's some weird ass like combo they do, and apparently it's like better than
really?
just or something like that. I've heard in
That
Korea
sounds
that
like
they do
old.
some that's I don't
Is
know.
it like old Kaiser or something? Where they would, in their transformation, they would attack, jump, and then teleport down so that they would like land faster.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
And
it
I
is.
was just
Yeah,
like,
you
oh
play differently.
wow. Like I remember telling myself, oh, I'll never have to do that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We have higher attack speed. That
Never
doesn't
say
apply to
never.
me. Yeah. Yeah. So now I'm just like, hmm.
Yeah, we'll never know. I think
Yeah.
though, in the case that it does happen, either because they decide that it's a good idea, very small chance, or because they just copy paste. I think if we just throw enough of a hissy fit and go full temper tantrum on the supermarket floor, they'll revert it, or they'll fix it for us. All it takes is one good boycott, and then they've
I
got to buy
mean,
the nads.
I feel like the Kana mains did that. Like, I never played when Kana was like really
The
OP.
problem is Kanamains are
I
not
don't know how.
loyal because they're all opportunistic pieces of shit. All of them just
Oh
main
my
Kana because it
god.
was so brain dead and because it was too good. And as soon as it like gets bad, you really only have like 5% of the Kanamains are actual Kanamains. All the other ones are just immediately flock away and they abandon the movement.
I see. They're just it's part of the economy flood, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just people's
The
farmers that were just so strong that eventually,
yeah.
and they got so many drops because they got into parties so easily that eventually they just ended up maining them. But
Mm.
they don't really love the class, sadly.
I have a friend that's like very pretty loyal to the class, but like he was like he was like giving us a TED talk about it every time we
Hmm.
like join call and Kana got brought up. It was like the
Yeah,
trigger word. It's like okay,
yeah.
like he's gonna join call. No one talk about Kana.
Don't say the word.
Don't talk about support classes.
Yeah. To be fair, I mean they
Yeah.
were on top of the totem pole for so long that I think it's
Yeah.
okay for a character like that to be kind of like cut off at the ankles
Yeah.
for a while.
Okay.
Because Bishop was being shit on for absolute years, so them being on top now for a bit, I don't think that's unfair. I think it's justified.
Yeah, yeah, that's super fair. Yeah. I don't hate bishops because they make me do more damage.
Yeah, exactly. And they do
Yeah.
some decent damage themselves, so definitely. You got shells, you get door,
Yeah.
multi-purpose, you got 2-minute, 3-minute benediction they can choose. That's some great utility.
OP. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're like three people all in one.
pretty much. Okay, usually these
Yeah.
sessions are about an hour and a half. I think we've gone
Yeah. Yeah.
quite a
Oh,
while.
sorry. I'm
So I want to
sorry.
make sure that if you've
Yeah.
got
Yeah. I'm good.
everything you need, you got your
Yeah.
priorities, we got the short-term goals, we got long-term uh, aim, we got drop rate, familiars, training, all of that.
Yeah.
Any last words? Any shout-outs?
Uh, no. Well, I've like, I really enjoy your content. I have to say, like, thank you. Like, for putting out such great content all the time. When I'm at work, I like put it on like a podcast while I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like doing something in the background. Yeah, it's
Cool.
pretty helpful. Yeah. I think without like your streams, I would have been very lost. I would have thrown my mesas at really random things.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I managed to like skip a lot of the traps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just I started watching like really early on.
Yeah, that's my goal.
Yeah.
Not to tell everyone exactly what to do, when to do it, but just like, here are some traps, you know,
Yeah,
try to
yeah,
avoid
for
these, and then, because the further you go, the more you lose your efficiency if you just spend whenever you can, or like you're black cubing everything for the risk of not tiering that, you know, losing the potential that you have, but then in doing
Yeah.
that, you're making it more likely that you're not going to see progress, and then that's, I think, the leading cause of
Yeah.
like burnout and kind of losing the vibe.
Yeah.
Right, that's
All right.
nice. So no shout out for your boyfriend. That's a little bit weird, but okay.
Yeah, I'll shout out my boyfriend. Oh my god. I don't know if he's watching. He's probably in class right now.
I can send him the vlog.
Thanks for telling me everything of all the people to watch and stuff. Thanks for sometimes carrying me, I guess. But
Yeah.
thanks for
Wow.
ensuring my like Pelix drops with your fucking Beast Tamer sticky paws. Yeah.
Beast Tamer? Oh, you got the extra drop rate from the Beast Tamer in there?
Oh yeah, I just forced him to come with me on all my weekly bosses on the Beast Tamer.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Next level.
Yeah,
all right.
That's why I don't want him to carry me. Yeah.
I see. All right, yeah, I'll upload it to YouTube in a bit as well, so you know you can always check that out.
Oh no, I'm never watching it. I can't
listen to
hear
your
my
own voice. It's always amazing.
Yeah.
It's almost
All
as
right.
cool as watching your pictures taken of you. Yeah.
Oh no. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yep.
Sorry I was a little bit late this morning. I turned off my alarm clock in my sleep.
I've never done that before. I don't know how you have the audacity to do that.
No. Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Well, good luck on everything, and yeah, if you have any other questions, you know where to find me.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, now we have to listen to this last loop of the playlist for the 15th time. Yeah, long ass session. Hopefully you guys had a good podcast listening to this and made some crazy gains. Finish your Yeti and Pink Bean level ups, or whatever the hell else you guys were doing. If you like these sessions, good. If you like listening to them, even better. If you want one of them, use the coaching command in the Twitch chat over there, or check the description of the video and it will be in there as well, how you can get one of these sessions. One of them, it's very important, is through leaving a comment saying that you would like to win. Make sure you leave your Discord name and say that you would like to win in the comment, and you could be one of the lucky 2 people at the end of the month who win free session with moi, like this one. I think this was one of the ones I gave away for based on comment, I believe. Yes. Cool. So yeah, I guess, yeah, thanks for watching. And I'll see you either in the next video here on YouTube, or I'll see you on twitch.tv/Scardor, where I stream every day. And don't be shy and drop by and use any of those 220 commands. Oh my. Wow, I'm just rhyming. Don't forget, I'm not going to become one of the people who does that. People know that subscribing is a possibility. People know that they can do that. So if they want to, they will already do that. We're just not doing that, okay? But yeah, see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.